Hello, everyone in confinement. Welcome out to the Cars, Bars, and Guitars podcast, episode number 56. I'm AJ.
I'm Steve.
Steve, who or what are we brought to you today by?
Eating too many Benadryl, so I feel like this real draggy today.
Benedrag.
Benedrag.
You're not getting sick, are you?
It's allergy season, so it's that same problem every year. I can't really tell until I'm barfing up a lung if I'm actually sick, so I think it's just the normal of, pollen in the air just making me feel crappy already.
There's a remedy for that. What are we drinking today, Steve?
Husqvarna. So we've got Woodford Reserve, which I keep thinking sounds more like a wine than a whiskey.
This is the Distiller's Select, and it's really good. It's 45.2%, and cheers.
Dangerous cheers.
Mm-hmm. That's a good one.
It's like hand sanitizer for your insides.
Yeah.
Oh my Allah, that's good.
Oh my God, isn't it though? Well, Steve, what you brought us some
Bear Waters Brewing Company Stiff Paddle IPA.
I got a stiff paddle after drinking that whiskey.
Per hour. Brought to you by Canton, North Carolina, Bob's hometown.
Nice.
This American IPA features a hop showcase of Centennial, Simcoe, and Citra with flavors of grapefruit, pine, and tropical fruit, like any IPA does.
Mm-hmm.
Stiff Paddle is dry hopped with Citra and El Dorado for increased citrus and stone fruit depth.
And
6.5 ABV.
that's one of the higher ones from Bear Waters because they had a stout that was only like 6%.
Whoops, learn it.
That's a good session. Like that'll be a good session beer.
How session beers work. No, a session beer is more like a 4%er.
Not for us, silly.
Yeah.
Yours must have got extra shaken in the ride over here.
Yeah.
Man, oh man. Well, Steve, if you don't know, now you know. But Steve's new job. He got his new job, and then effectively,
Yeah. So I got 3 full weeks in, and then my hours got cut in a little less than half. So this past week I pulled 19 instead of 40 hours. So good news, keep working. Bad news, it's half of it. But benefits remain intact. They actually got our insurance started early. Also be starting the 1st. I think I'm still insured through old job, but there's a few pennies coming from that last half week.
Right.
That'll be the last of that. And I've not been in a hurry to contact them to see if I could pick up any hours there because I just really hate that printer.
Yeah.
Those hours. Yeah, it's like, if the going gets real bad, okay, but I don't feel the need for that yet.
That
Also, just pick up some different warehouse gig. Like, I can still drive a forklift.
going back to get more hours at that place would be kind of like you breaking up with your girlfriend before the prom and still having to go to the prom with her.
Been there, done that.
I did not actually. I've been having a lot.
1999 was a weird time.
I've been having a lot of those dreams that you say, your nightmares about going back to high school. I think probably in the last couple of months, I've had way more of those. Don't know if it's because you talked about it to me or because I went to one of my alma mater's basketball games or what it was, but I didn't have such a bad high school school experience.
Same here.
I'd go back for a week. I'd party. I'd get super laid, and then I'd come right back to being 34 years old. I like this age. How's 38?
Pretty much everything north of 30s felt about the same.
I was thinking that.
I don't know, same lack of money, same slow deteriorating health, whatever.
Nobody gets out alive, buddy.
Yeah.
So when
I guess it's a good midway point, third way point, whatever.
Is there a something in place to when they tell you can go back to full time, or they're just playing it by ear?
It's really just kind of hedging on however things go. So it's kind of like until further notice.
Gotcha. The other the podcast that Joe Rogan did with fucking the guy from North Carolina has that voice like that, Tony Hinch. No, not Hinchcliffe. Is it Tony? No, it's not Tony.
John Reap.
God damn it! This is going.
Is that Galifianakis?
No. I can't believe I'm so woefully unprepared since I've had such a shitty couple of weeks at work. Tales from the Trip. Duncan Trussell.
He's from this state.
Duncan Trussell's from North Carolina.
I found him so fucking irritating.
Well, they did. Joe was dressed up in like a full like beekeeper suit during it, and then Duncan Trussell looked like he was going to war in Vietnam as a Viet Cong. He just like grass. He just did the whole podcast like that. No, Duncan Trussell's from North Carolina. I don't know from where in North Carolina, but I'm pretty sure it's not too far from here. You don't like his voice? Is that it?
That's probably a good chunk of it. It's like, hey man, he talks about getting high all the time, man. Of all the comedians out there, I like most of them. I do not like him. I never liked him, and I think the voice is a good chunk of it.
I've been getting back into George Carlin lately.
He's from Asheville.
That makes sense. I mean, I haven't listened to any of his comedy specials, but he was on Tales from the Trip, which is Comedy Central's. It's basically like a mini show about taking psychedelics and the experiences. Because he was on there, and then there was a couple other ones, and Shane Moss was on. He's really fucking funny too. We'll watch some of that off mic. But so Steve, I got some beer news for you. Are you ready for this?
Oddly enough, like that slowed down would be a good news theme.
Yeah, it would be. Archaeologists in Leeds, England, have discovered they've discovered more than 600 beer bottles under an old Victorian brewery staircase. The beer is from the 19th century, and it still has liquid in it, but they tested it and it has deadly levels of lead.
Goodness.
So do you like your beer leaded or unleaded?
Typically unleaded, thank you.
I've never had leaded beer, though.
It could be a first time and a last time.
When did they stop doing leaded gasoline? Do you remember?
Mid-70s. I know lead was... That was the big thing right about the time of the oil embargo in 73. Was also around the time that lead was being taken out of gas, and it was taken out of paint by 78.
I wonder if you could... I'm sure some grandparents still have some pretty highly...
Oh, yes.
Poisonous paint.
That is a very real threat when renovating an old house, is the removal of leaded paint as well as asbestos in your insulation. You know, lead would make your whites whiter, but it's very toxic, and asbestos is going to give you COVID levels of pneumonia that your lungs are just going to rip themselves apart. Yeah. So that's why that was taken away.
They're doing as best as they can.
They've also been in brakes for the same reason as it was in insulation, that it doesn't burn.
That's right. That's right.
So even like an old fire safety suit or a racing suit would be made of asbestos.
The reason I was asking about leaded fuel is because when in both of my conquests there was a little sticker on that said unleaded fuel only on it, and so I didn't realize you could still get leaded fuel in the 80s.
That's plausible. Lead had been used in gasoline as an anti-knocking agent.
Okay.
So it wasn't that fuel inherently had lead. It was simply added to it to aid in knocking. The Dollop did an episode about the dangers of lead.
The Dollop is YouTube?
Podcast.
Okay.
It was completely bonkers process that it took to get lead out of gasoline.
Jesus, I wonder how many heavy metals they tried to do that with without before they decided on that, or if they just already knew it because science. Probably that.
It works, but let have been using pipes because it's much more malleable than most.
Mm-hmm.
Unfortunately, it will kill you.
Yes, that's true. Busch Beer is to give 3 months of free beer to anyone who adopts or fosters a dog during the COVID-19 outbreak.
Wow.
That's pretty... I mean, it's Busch Beer. It's like, expecting... If somebody says giving free beer, and they give you Busch, it's kind of like somebody saying, hey, I'm going to send this chick over tonight. She's going to fuck your brains out. She comes over, she gives you a handshake and walks away. So... But it's free beer, and to be honest with you, if I had Busch Beer in here, and that's all I had, and I couldn't leave the house, I would drink it.
Gotta stay hydrated somehow.
That's true. Busch Ice is probably the best Busch Beer, only because it was, at the time, 5.9%.
Yeah, the old 6% cap until August 05. I'm sure we've outlined that before.
Oh, we did.
And that was funny because that was a month after I joined the UFO Club.
Nice.
That was a special time back in summer 15 years ago.
It just seems very archaic. Not only that, but that was 15 years ago.
With a state-run ABC store too. Woof. They're screaming at the radio when that got shot down.
Oh, I know. And it's only because money, right? That's the only reason. The only reason I don't like it is because they're not open on Sunday. Like, I've never had any problem at any ABC store. Like, most of them, like, especially right here, they're really helpful at this one. And Matthews.
That's a really nice shop.
Oh, yeah, isn't it, though? Nice and square. The one in University's nice, too.
Last I went to that when I was picking up supplies for Negronis and Martinis, and the shopkeeper there was like, oh, you're making a quarantini? He's like, damn it! Why didn't I think of that?
Every now and then, I do get mad at myself for not... Well, go get you a dog, and you'll get you some free booze.
I don't need another mouth to feed right now, sorry.
Well, it says 3 months of free beer. So is that our level of beer, or is that like Emily's level of beer? A 3-month supply for Emily would be a 6-pack.
Yeah, instead of a 6-pack a day.
Well, I can't drink 6 of any. Like, I can't drink 6 glasses of water in one night. Like, so I don't see how people like, oh, I got a 6-pack and drank it last night. I'm like, I don't know how you fucking did it, man, because I feel super bloated. Like, 4 beers is about my limit, and that's with not eating. If I don't eat anything, like when I go to Saucer, usually I'll have like 3 or 4 beers, and I'll come home and I'll have like something very small for dinner, and I'll go to bed. I couldn't imagine drinking 6 fucking beers, any kind of beer, or water, or any fucking thing. How well do you hold your drinks, sir?
Usually by the time that 4th one's done at Saucer, that's plenty. It's probably for the better they've got the cap at 3 that count.
True. So, but...
Or the Kalen method is have a couple beers and switch to wine. I can murderize some wine. But,
later.
The Wrath of the Grapes is less severe than it used to be.
That's good.
This also meant I've slept till 1 o'clock today, but still. I think it's also the stress talking and the Benadryl. It was, just a lovely mix. Last night, grilled some lamb.
How was it?
Not bad. I picked up a 2.6 pound slab at Aldi a few weeks ago when they were $6 a pound instead of the usual 10.
Was it a shank?
It was a butterfly leg.
Okay.
So yeah, added ginger and garlic into the meat itself. Made a honey glaze for it. Cooked it over low heat for an hour. Turned out real fine. Could have used a little less time on the grill. It came out, a little more medium well that we would have wanted, but the taste was still good.
Well, you can eat lamb not well done, can you not?
Yeah, it functions very much like beef.
Okay. Now, I've had lamb twice in my life. I was super underwhelmed the first time I had it, only because I cooked it, and granted, this was like when I was 19 years old. I'd like to think I'm a little bit better of a cook now. So I'd be willing to try it again. I've had it like a bite of it at a restaurant too, and I enjoyed it. But I'd be willing to have like a properly
If my gateway into it was at Outback Steakhouse that they had what they call the Outback Rack, which was rack of leg of lamb, and loved it. So I've been a fan ever since I first had it.
I thought that's when you hooked up with a prostitute behind the store. You get an Outback rack.
It was an Outback rack and an Outback rack, but the Outback's rack was busted. It was shacking up in the back of the Subaru, but the steering column is kaput.
The Subaru Outback carrying an Outback out at Outback.
I love that picture.
Thomas and I used to murder Kookaburra wings. Do you remember those? Oh my God, they were so fucking good. We used to get that and a bloomin' onion.
They spelled chicken wrong.
We used to just make that the bread and the beer. Like we would just go there and get those things and just be happy as fuck. I think like Outback Steakhouse is probably the best steak for the money. Like because Longhorn's a little too country on the inside for me.
Well, it depends on the country. It's very much Texas on the inside instead of Outback trying to be Australia by way of Tampa.
That's true.
Everything's delicious at Outback because it's all over salted. So yes, this food will kill you, but it's delicious.
The Nathan Pyle comics where the one of the aliens was putting a bunch of salt and pepper on his meal, and he says, "You know, you're going to have fewer revolutions around the sun." He goes, "Maybe I prefer more minerals." But
delicious.
I haven't been to Outback in 7 years.
We went about a year ago since I had a couple of gift cards to it. The menu had shrunk significantly since last I had been there before.
They're also open for lunch now, I think.
Yeah, that was big news because they used to only be open for lunch on holidays. Enough say for Mother's Day, Father's Day.
Right.
But yeah, I think in order to remain solvent, they opened for lunch and had lots of $10 meal options.
Yeah,
not as if it's ever been terribly expensive there, but if
really.
you're open for lunch, do have something less pricey, which was the big deal at South Park Grill when it opened. The lunch menu was simply a reduced menu from dinner, but all prices remained the same.
What the fuck, man?
that was the worst place to valet, and that's including Dean and DeLuca.
Really? That seems like the dumbest place to have a valet parking. Like,
just because it's at Phillips Place next to a better restaurant and right down from the movie theater. So often you get stuck with someone that went in for coffee and then went to the movies, so you're going to be waiting there a lot longer than you wanted to.
Oh my God, I had the most Karen of all Karens today at work because they didn't send us any strawberries.
Complete with that awful haircut, that like short in the back, long in the front, the reverse mullet.
She was a little older, so I think the haircut was much like her years. It was on up there, so it wasn't as perky as it should have been. But Aquanet, I digress. She, hey, you got any strawberries? And I was like, no, ma'am. I ordered 10 cases of strawberries. We got none today. I'm sorry. She goes, I haven't been able to make my strawberry cakes, and my whole family loves them. And I don't know what I'm going to do. I just haven't been able to find strawberries. And I'm thinking,
have you tried canned?
I'm thinking in my mind, I'm like, that is the biggest white people fucking problems I've ever fucking heard in my entire life. I almost wanted to say it, but I didn't. Much like what I wanted to say on what I posted on my social media today about the eggs and the chicken.
Mm-hmm.
It's so fucking true. Like, guys, if a store is all right, so here's a top tip from both of us, and Steve's going to agree with me. If you go into a store and everything is perfectly in stock, and there's one item that's out of stock, it is okay to ask, hey, do you have any of this? You're going to get it in because they might have it. But if the entire store is completely ransacked and everything's empty, chances are what you're going to ask for, they don't have. So put a fucking
cork in it
all the fucking way. Well, Steve, we got a little bit more beer news before we turn it over to whatever else we're going to talk about today. Dirtbag Ales of Fayetteville, North Carolina, Vietnam, treats quarantined soldiers at Fort Bragg to free beer.
Wow.
During this entire thing.
That's incredible.
So a shout out to Dirtbag Ales, which I've never been to, but now that I've heard this news, I kind of want to go to Dirtbag Ales. When was the last time you went to Fayetteville?
Friend's wedding 10 years ago.
Okay.
But that was I think, at a country club, so it was the nicest possible option of Fayetteville. So, frankly, I rather enjoyed myself at this event in Fayetteville.
Funny thing about Fayetteville, the further away you get from Fort Bragg, the nicer everything gets. Played World of Beer a couple times there. That was the infamous coming home from really late, and the Jeep's headlights decided they wanted to be Garfield Christmas lights. But oh no, it was fun. But we went into that. I think we went into that discussion several episodes ago about how they were like, "Oh, we have in-house PA. You don't have to bring anything." Well, we brought everything anyway, and then they were like, "No, we're going to use our in-house PA." So we had to plug into their PA, and then the cool thing is, it plays through their speakers. So everything that Toby and I were playing was going through the speakers. The problem is, it's so loud in there, you can't hear anything you're doing. So I don't know how much experience you have in music, but if you can't hear what you're doing, it's hard to sound good. so just that's just,
But much like here and now with the podcast, if you can hear yourself on here, then a computer can hear you. Therefore, the audience can suffer through your voice later, too.
Correct.
You're welcome, America.
Yes. What else do you have to do? You're in quarantine now, buddy. You can sit here and listen to all 56 episodes.
Yeah, I was just thinking what I have in the car is the first 200 smoking tires, all 400 dollops, 700 sound opinions. I guess next up, I'll just throw on the 1100 WTFs.
Who hosts Dollop?
Like the people on it?
Yeah.
Dave Anthony and Gareth Reynolds.
Gareth sounds familiar, but
he had been on. He'd been a guest on Dave's previous show, Walking the Room, and he's appeared on the Crab Feast a few times. He was born in England and grew up in Wisconsin, and the riffs he does off of Dave's history lessons make the show.
Going from England to Wisconsin is interesting, to say the least.
He doesn't sound English at all, unless he's putting on a voice.
Well, do people pick out where you're from? Because people ask me all the time where I'm from. I think I have a very thick Southern accent, but everyone else seems to think that I don't, especially from where I grew up.
I could definitely tell that you have a Southern accent, but it's not pronounced.
Okay.
Yeah,
I can't pick out a Southern accent with you at all.
I made the conscious decision by about the second grade to not sound the part.
Yes. But we both can speak it fluently and understand it fluently if we had to. But I think the reason I don't...
It's Courtman. Go now.
I don't sound like it because I enunciate all the syllables in the words when I'm speaking. But that might be the singer coming out of me, too.
And I get marble mouth, and I just become gibberish. I'm my own thing. It's Stephenese, as Beth calls it.
I know. Sometimes back when you would text Emily more, like when you guys still lived, like she would say, "Will you read this and tell me what this means?" Speaking of Wisconsin, Steve, Wisconsin neighbors of Richfield, which I don't know how close that is to Madison or any other.
It's on the far side of Mount Pleasant.
So, Wisconsin neighbors of Richfield
just outside Meisenheimer
have been having beer swap meets via RC cars.
Nice.
I had one called the Python. I had an RC car called the Python. I want you to guess what this car... It was a regular RC car, but it
wasn't the one on tracks? Those were rad.
No, this was... You could recharge the battery and drive it, but it did a specific gimmick.
The car slithered?
It has something to do with a snake.
It had a tongue.
It did, but not a functioning one.
Okay, well, it's not like an RC car needs to smell or taste anything.
This is awesome. What the RC car I had, and I do not, without looking it up, I couldn't tell you, but you would drive the RC car around like an RC car, and then you would press a button on the controller, which you had the antenna on, which is fucking cool as hell. And then the top of the car would pop up like a snake and a snake's head, and it would shoot water out the mouth.
Oh, cool.
Hell yeah. I love that thing, and I don't know if my parents still have it or not, but look that up and see if you can find it, because I can't remember what the name of it was, but that was really cool. Say what you want, man. Like, my parents, man, I did not grow up with money at all. Like, we just did not have a lot, but they always seemed to, if we wanted something, they got,
They managed to make things happen.
they made we didn't, but the thing is too, we didn't ask for really extravagant like, I bought my Super Nintendo with cash that I would help my dad clean out the vacuums at Servco. And we would get the quarters and dimes and nickel. Like, we would go through and, like, sift through and get the change out of people. One time, we, like, in a month's time, let me see that. Yep, that's it.
It lives on eBay, and
$50.
And one made it to $470.
What the fuck? I'm going to get that shit if I still have it and sell it.
What? No, the real trick is the completed listings to see where they're going.
Well, I was going to say, Steve, I bought my Super Nintendo with 2 games and 2 control, like the system. Guess from where?
You got your Super Nintendo and games.
Games. I got the system with the games
At a Kmart.
No. You're going to think I'm lying when I tell you where I got it from.
At
Lowe's Home Improvement. Do you remember when
I
Lowe's
remember
had...
they briefly had the electronics section that they had, because I remember seeing the model above my GE boombox there that had the 5-band equalizer. Mine had the 3, and it was going for $100 at the time. And I actually just donated away that boombox because I'm not using this thing ever.
You don't want to go down the street with it on your shoulder like a old school hip hop video?
No.
I kind of do, except I would play Michael Bolton through it.
It appears that the Python is selling anywhere between $20 and $200.
Well, the average of that is about $180, or God damn it, $90. I told you, man, it's been a long fucking week. Well, that's so
okay.
Cool.
So
yep,
it appears that 70 is the going rate for it.
$70 I didn't have before. Well, to finish up, Mr. Esteban, the New Jersey governor has allowed and then bans home delivery of beer, spirits, cider, and mead. Fuck you, buddy. I don't even know who you are, but fuck you. You can't Indian give people in this time of need when it comes to their booze. That's all the beer news I have for today, Steve. So, Steve, do you want some more bourbon, or you want to stick with the...
I could totally go for more of that.
Or I could go downstairs and get some different, or if you just want to keep going with this, I'm fine with it.
That totally works.
It's fucking delicious. It has a different sort of aftertaste. Like, it's got the bourbon flavors, but the aftertaste, there's something in it that I can't put my finger on, and I'm not going to put my finger in because of the pandemic. But
they think this will kill anything you're looking at.
That's true.
Without the scarcity of Lysol.
Sean has turned me onto a Untapped version, or an app like Untapped, except it's for whiskey. It's called Distiller.
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
Is it spelled properly, or are they dropping vowels because that's all the rage?
I'll get back to you on that.
Okay.
Nope, Distiller. Right there beside my Untapped.
All right.
It's spelled like Distiller. It's going to be yet another way for me to keep up with just how much of the spirits I have. Unfortunately, though, you cannot go in the ABC stores now. You know that?
No. What do you have to do? Call ahead and they'll bring it to you?
Even worse, you have to stand in the line that's always formed outside the ABC store, and they come to the door and they ask you what you want, and you tell them. The problem with that, you already know the problem with that, don't you?
Half the fun's in browsing.
Half the fun's in browsing, and people are indecisive.
Uh-huh.
Normally, when I go, I'm looking for a new kind of whiskey.
Yep.
Irish, Scotch, bourbon, or tequila in bourbon barrel, like something weird. And then I can't do that. So I'm thinking about going tomorrow morning and just being first in, like sitting down on the steps in front of the ABC. That non-alcoholic. and just asking, hey, did you get anything in? Because they always have like in the Mint Hill one, they have the front section is where they have the new stuff that they don't usually carry.
Yeah.
And that's where I usually go straight to. That's how I got the...
yeah, if they have a just landed page, so to say.
Yes.
Or, all right, guys, what's on clearance? That's how I found that Ballantine scotch. That was really good.
Did we have that on here?
I don't recall. I still have some.
We're reaching the point now where it's going to be hard to remember what we did on episodes because we've got so many episodes.
I already do a good job of that. what we have? What we talk about? I don't know. Showed up and said some stuff in the microphone. I think I had fun.
You did. I did, and everybody who's listened has did.
Hooray!
So, Steve, do you want to do the car thing, or do you want to do the band origin names?
Do car thing.
Car thing first?
Yeah.
So it was your idea to crowdsource.
Yep.
Different automobile accidents.
Yeah. Did you see anything pop up since that was last minute?
I did not.
Okay. Else we could, get audience suggestions next go around too.
I'm okay with that.
I've got a few from myself and my significant other.
All right. So do you want to do just us and our significant others, or do you want to do us and friends and things we had first-hand account of?
Whatever you're a part of or yours have been a part of, sure.
Okay, well, you go first, Steve. We're going in reverse alphabetical order with first and last name because...
Starting with the letter X, go.
No, reverse alphabet. So the person with the name that start... it's been a long...
And instead of H or X versus T, yeah, it all works.
English is speak becoming hardness.
Yeah, you. Yeah. Kaylin had already been dating somebody else at the time, and she'd been working at a gym as the receptionist there. This guy had asked her out. Never mind, she's already dating somebody else, so she had to let him down nicely.
Right.
And upon departure, he had parked his car right behind hers, and she crashed into it.
Oh. That's awesome.
A Mazda Protege versus a Mitsubishi Spider. It was a Spider of some sort, like probably a Mitsubishi convertible.
That's the only...
That is the only regularly available one. Like, it's not going to be an Alpha. It's not going to be a Ferrari. Like, there are other cars...
Lambo's had...
I think so,
okay.
But yeah, it's Spy with a Y-der.
Best convertible name, though, goes to Rolls-Royce.
The Drophead Coupe.
Drophead.
Drophead Coupe. Coupe. Yes, I have my Porsche Coupe. I'm going to add extra syllables to my automobile.
Quattroporte Coupe.
That's not how this works. That's the problem with modern cars.
I know.
It's not supposed to be a four-door coupe.
We have talked about this ad nauseum, and no, you can't name it the Grand Coupe BMW if it has 4 fucking doors.
Speaking of, you see the new 2 Series one? Woof.
It
is your Mini Cooper-based front-wheel drive only BMW. They have completely lost their way.
Had I a pussy, it'd be bone fucking dry. By the way, found a new euphemism for that makes me wet is, man, I'm frothing at the gash.
Goodness.
Thank you, Tri-Channel. Emily and I are going back. We're going back? We haven't been. Emily and I have canceled our Toronto trip. We're going to Ireland in the fall.
All right.
With all this shit going on, like, you realize just how insignificant everybody is and life is. I'm going to do and see as much shit as possible, and I don't fucking care how much it costs. That might not be the right way to go about it, but that's exactly how I'm going to fucking do it.
Well, you've also got the capacity to do so as well. You're doing pretty well, especially with all these extra hours, like it or not.
Well,
are you still early?
I'm still hourly, and they gave Food Lion, as of last Sunday, gave all full-time employees a $2 an hour raise. And all part-timers, $1 an hour raise, and a guaranteed 45 hours a week.
For part-timers?
Full-timers. Full-timers get 45 now. And we get time and a half for... So it was effectively a 10% raise for me, plus 45 hours a week. So...
Okay.
And I left before, like... Saturday, I didn't work a half day. I worked 6.5 out of my 8 hours, but I was just like, I'm so fucking done. Like the thing too is I don't think I've talked to you about this, but I'm going to whatever check we get from the government, because we get $1,200 and the next. I'm going to donate all of my proceeds to probably Saucer, and I'm gonna go there, get a $12 6-pack, and I'm gonna just give it to probably Jonathan will be the one there. Like, look, just take these 10 waitresses and give each of these 10, or I'll give 12 waitresses $100. Like, people who lost their jobs need it. I didn't need this. People needed the unemployed. Like, people who lost their job need the fucking money. People who have jobs, like, I'm essential, quote unquote.
I have a letter writing shotgun from the vice president of Carvana establishing such, but given that it's transportation and logistics, and that's absolutely what they're doing with this, that it totally qualifies that we are in the process of rehabbing transportation, and they've got their own logistics thing, moving car carriers back and forth.
Right. So
one of these days, like stay-at-home ban or not, people still need cars.
Right.
So, the sweet irony is, like, gas is cheap.
Yeah.
You can't go anywhere. Well, you shouldn't go anywhere.
I wanted to say this to a customer, but I didn't. So the other day, a lady came in. She said, "You know what? It's a shame they don't give you guys masks or protective. You're out here with the general public, and it's a shame they didn't do something to help, decrease the risk for you guys."
It's a shame I got to be in your face too, miss.
I almost looked this bitch in the eyes and said, they did do something. They gave a mandated order for everyone to stay at home unless they needed to be out. But you and I are having this conversation in person right now. I wanted so desperately to say that to somebody, but I fucking didn't. I wanted to.
We're
she's
on
a
strike,
regular,
guys, but could you get some cigarettes?
and she's not a bitch. She's actually not a bitch, but you're a bitch for fucking saying that.
Yeah.
Like, they gave plenty of order. Like, people are coming in. They're waiting for you to come in the door. They're not getting essentials. They're getting, like, 1 and 2 things. Like, you couldn't wait. You needed this item. Like, how woefully unprepared are you?
I needed another 24-pack of Rolling Rock, thank you.
Nah.
It's not because it's good, but it's the best cheap thing out there.
I still maintain that Miller High Life is the best cheap beer, which I have not had on here yet. You've had Rolling Rock on here. I have not. That's your go-to cheap, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
That we go way deep because I got arrested in Myrtle Beach with it.
That's
so
true.
It really puts the mental and sentimental.
Well, I'm going. I talked to Baker last night, and I'm going to try to find the venue for it. And I want it to be a brewery because breweries in Charlotte area are it's a big thing. So I want to find a good venue to play it. But I'm thinking about doing like a charity show, a full band charity show. Me, Brian, Lev, and I got to find a drummer who can do it, who has the time to do it.
We'll miss you, Gene.
And I want to do that, and I asked Baker if he's in. He's like, totally in. So I want to do like a full band, full-fledged electric, bring all my shit out and just big, good show. So be on the lookout for that. Don't know when that's going to be. And all the tips and proceeds from that day will go to a charity that we will pick. We're not going to benefit from that at all. We're going to do it for other people, and I think that's what we should do. We should look out for each other. I'm going to tear up. Let's change the subject. Car wrecks.
Yeah.
So you went through. All right. So did Kaylin have any other car accidents?
Yes.
Okay.
Another strange one that she had was, oddly enough, upon returning from her honeymoon with first husband,
Dickie McFuckface.
Yep. Returning from this, not so great trip to the Mexican coast, that her car had been crushed by a Hummer limousine that had jumped the rail of the airport, landed on her car. And the car still managed to get out, but they still had the gall to charge her for airport parking. Never mind the trunk had been
Charlotte Douglas?
split. Yeah, the trunk had been crushed by a limousine.
What vent? H1, 2, or 3?
I would imagine it would be an H2 limo.
I think that's the only one they made.
And that's oddly enough. I think the only limousine I've ridden in was one of those at my buddy Jason's wedding back 8 years ago.
Jason
Golombiewski, the guy in Raleigh.
Guy that has all the cars?
No, the metalhead.
That's right. You have other friends I don't know about, and I only know them about...
This one actually stayed at the old house on Glasgow when we went to concerts.
That one, oh my God, I haven't thought about that guy since right now.
He's alive and well, has a kid, really hates his job as an accountant, but that's been a series of jobs that he's hated.
How many of us do that, though? We just...
Working jobs you hate?
Yeah.
I hear it pays well, but yeah, he's not been too keen on any of them.
Did you watch that video I posted about it was, I don't really post anything deep usually, but you need to watch. That's such a good video. It put me
the last video I watched of yours was that crazy Super Mario hack.
Which was
that
awesome.
Was insane.
It's a good one. It talks about, the video I talked about is like, it's basically it's the euphemism that you have to treat life as a musical composition. Like you don't. I'm trying to figure. It was,
and at the end of it, you just decompose.
It was like don't live to retire to do things. It's like the best music you're supposed to sing and dance during the song. That's what the music's for. The music's for enjoying the moment. It's like if the music was only about the ending, the only composers would be ones that wrote really big ending chords, and the best composers would be ones that played faster.
It would all be the tail end of the Beatles' A Day in the Life. That is just this crazy cacophony, just ending this. Ding.
Yeah, something like that. You have to enjoy the ride during it. That's the point of music. The point of music is not to have the best ending. It's about enjoying the entire ride. With life, you have to enjoy the entire ride. So, man, we're getting deep on this shit. I digress. Is Kayla done with Exodus, or does she actually have more?
Those are two big ones.
And you've explained yours before, too.
Yeah, my craziest one was going straight through a green area right before going to see Minority Report. A 98 Volkswagen GTI versus a 95-ish S10. It was low enough speed, like no one's hurt, but I think maybe he needed a bumper and had to replace the front fender and suspension, passenger front end of that car. Mm-hmm. So that was part of of the 5 months I had that car, it being in the shop for about a month. All right, yes, some of it was body work. And then it's like lots of mechanical issues out of that one. And the car was only 4 years old at the time.
What year was it? 98?
98. So this was back in 02.
Oh my God. I was a sophomore in high school, Steve.
It was, and in that time I took it from 85,000 miles to 96,000 miles. I drove a lot.
That is quite a bit. I always liked the body style of those. When I was looking at cars, when I first started, before my dad found that the 87, the white one, the Conquest, I was kind of looking at those, but he is a Mopar guy at heart, and I know
that VR6 would have murdered your wallet too. When it ran, it was fabulous, but there's just so much shit that would go wrong with it.
Yeah, and even though I know Mopar and Mitsubishi are not the same, they were all under the same umbrella for quite a bit. So he still viewed it that way, even though we all knew deep down.
Yeah,
Chrysler can't make their own
much like
car.
It's like I love Pontiac because mine's a Toyota.
Exactly.
But that they also had like the better sense of humor, like hence the Aztec, but also making a lot of interesting cars along the way. You supercharged a Bonneville. Well, that's bonkers.
I like those.
Yeah.
Wrong transmission and wrong wheel drive, but damn good looking.
Scoot.
Damn
And
good
even
looking
the one before the like 92 model, the 88.
Mm-hmm.
There was one of those in pretty decent shape at
That was Oldsmobile,
Ortho.
wasn't it? Oldsmobile 88?
The year 1988. But
never
they
mind.
that also had the same, oddly enough, was mechanically similar to the Olds 88 of the era.
Right. Pontiac always had really good-looking cars. Like, it was still GM. It was still generic motors, but they
A little more style to it.
the Firebirds always looked better than the Camaros.
Yep.
Uh,
That's always one of the more exciting things with The Office always being in reruns is Dwight's super nice 92 Firebird, the last of the third gens.
okay. All of those are ugly, but
What, you didn't like Knight Rider?
92?
It was the
IROC
it was
body
the
style?
it was the Firebird model though. So it was they went to the slant nose in 82, but that body style was in production until 92. They added some more plastic work to it to make it more streamlined.
Don't like it. That's my least favorite Camaro body style. And oddly enough, my second
The
favorite.
Firebird version of it.
I just didn't like it.
Just didn't like Knight Rider and
No.
anything that looked like it.
God, no.
Okay.
No. That's my least favorite Camaro body style. I like the second gen the best. The newest ones, the newest Camaros are hideous.
Oh yeah, that front end that looks like they stole it off a new Camry.
Ugh. And what was it?
The Predator face, I like to call it.
Not as bad as the new taco trucks. Tacomas? No, that's the Lexus.
The Lexus ones
What
are.
did you say the new Tacomas looked like?
I didn't.
You had a
No, the new Rav4s are pretty ugly.
okay. I thought you had something for the new Tacomas. You said you just didn't like the way the front was, and you had a humorous anecdote about it.
I do not remember what that was.
Steve, I need you to remember your humorous anecdotes.
Whoops.
Why else do I keep you around other than handsomeness and anecdotes? And your Japanese PlayStation T-shirt you wore.
Yeah, oddly enough, this is from Marshalls, and like all TJ Marshalls stores, even their website is closed until further notice. Speaking of places that are fun to browse around in,
Oh yeah, it's so.
well, there's always Ross. That's where I got the Gashak.
Do they have a Chandler's? Wait,
I don't see what Friends has to do with any of
yes,
this.
you got it. I've never.
Is that your Bing energy drink?
I've never watched one episode of Friends, like all the way through. Seen bits and pieces and highlights, but never just a full episode. Am I missing anything?
It's not the best show. It's not the worst show.
Okay,
But it does have 20-something Jennifer Aniston, and that's why I frankly enjoy it.
oh well, and you know what? I kind of like Courtney Cox too. I even don't mind Lisa Kudrow.
Speaking of plastic surgery disasters,
Oh
though,
my god!
whoa,
That shit looks
yeah.
whack.
Nowadays, Courtney Cox looks like the Toyota CHR, both of which look like rejects from Planet of the Apes, the original. Does that?
Oh my god! Yes.
Overly puffy face.
Well, I was going to say.
Aw.
I was going to say. Courtney Cox now looks like a more fuckable Michael Jackson.
You're a little too old for his corpse, though.
Are you not part of the 6 Feet Under Club?
Talking about social distancing.
You've had.
Oh no, we're
That
doing this wrong. I should have sat on these ends of the table.
We should have. So you've had that accident. What other accidents have you? Are we doing
nothing.
Ones you've caused, or just you've been a part of?
Just been part of. That was easily the strangest one. Crashing into my neighbor's car. No, with both siblings in it. February of 2000. Just wasn't paying attention. Just made a right turn, and the Saturn wiped my nose off.
It's a good. Were you playing the song "Right Turn"?
No.
Oh.
I would not be able to tell you what song was playing.
You've had two total.
Those were the two. Those were the worst ones.
or any minor like, oops, I backed up into something? Or
light pole in Tacoma. Yeah, that truck just wore that badge of honor from. I did get another one of the stickers though. That little Toyota prancing horse is from South Africa Toyota. So I think that's going on next car whenever that happens. That took some serious searching to be able to find another one of those.
You did. I think we didn't talk about it on mic, but you actually drove the new Corolla wagon, and you liked it.
Yeah. So in the very limited amount of time my new job has had the opportunity to drive the everything since valeting is currently on hiatus. Yeah. Well, we've still got cars to get prepped and ready, and got to drive a 2019 Corolla hatchback. And why, yes, I have been lusting after the correct car.
But does it have that awful stick-on screen on the top of the dash?
It does have the iPad and dash model. I don't know if the lower spec one still does that or not.
Yeah.
If I get heated seats in it, cool. But I mean, it's indifferent to heated seats, indifferent to sunroof. But basically, and all the hatchbacks come with the 2.0 and have the stick shift option. Mm-hmm. The sedan model, speaking of ugly front ends, I think only the top spec ones have the stick option with the 2.0, but all the lesser ones still have the old 1.8 and are CVT only.
Gross. Which means it's dead.
Yep.
I like the way they look. I just like the ground clearance. I think we talked about that before.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I don't often know where my shows are sometimes when we're going, and I like to not have to care how fast I'm going into somewhere too. Jeep's still running good. Still thinking about that Outback. But good news, Steve, from last week, 2 weeks, whatever. Last episode. The head gasket issue was only on non-turbo models because they used a different head gasket. So on the turbo models, they used a thicker, better head gasket.
Okay.
On the Outback
it's just
and
if you
Foresters.
end up boosting them more heavy duty, you'll just blow the engine up, so maybe don't do that.
Right. And the more I look at them, the more I prefer the Outback. I already have basically the slow version of a Forester XT.
Yeah.
So if I'm going to, like...
I'm guessing you've had no bites on the S2000 given the current state of economic conditions, huh?
Define bites.
Lots of people interested, but no one is actually willing to come and take a test drive or put any money down or whatever have you.
A guy messaged me today.
Mm-hmm.
And, hey, is your car still available? And I went, yes. And he said, okay. That was the last I heard of him about 8 hours ago.
Good talk. See you out there.
Yeah. The good news is it's not costing me anything. Yeah. So it's only costing me insurance.
Earlier this week, I did get something safe for my money.
A seatbelt wallet.
Yes.
Let me see this. I really like. Where did you get this from?
It was $5 at Bargain Hunt, and it was one of one.
God damn it!
Well, I do have a brand name. The unfortunately named Harvey's.
It's the Wonder Hamster. He doesn't bite and he doesn't squeal. Just rides around on his hamster wheel. That's my.
I was thinking like Harvey's Weinstein. It's like, oh damn it!
That my new favorite thing when somebody
that
says,
guy is too ugly to do all the raping that he's doing.
When somebody says something stupid, somebody said, "Well, the wheel is turning, but the hamster's dead." That might be the title of this episode.
Just imagine the wheel is like, all right, dead hamster just goes up half the arc and then falls. Splat, splat, splat.
Well, the funny part about my automotive history is I've never been a passenger in car accidents. I've always been the driver. So I was not paying attention and rammed into the back of a Lincoln LS in my Civic HX, my silver Honda. And I hit them, and then they rolled into somebody else. Well, the person I hit was driving with a suspended license, and the person they rolled into was driving a rental car that was not rented in her name. So the cop, when he showed up, gave
shnikes.
no one a ticket that day because he didn't want to deal with it.
Wow.
So I didn't get a ticket that day. My insurance tripled, but for 3 years, but I didn't get a ticket.
So that also means you were not responsible for their cars then?
No.
How does that work?
All right, so what I think happened was I wasn't responsible for theirs, but I was responsible since they totaled out my Civic because they value the damage at $1,700, and they only valued the car at $4,000, so they totaled it.
Yeah, what's the threshold? Like if it costs half to fix it, or nowadays it's gotten even worse now.
It was different then. That was 2000.
HX. That was the hatchback model.
Yes, that was 2007 because I replaced that with the Maxima.
Because the VX was the like ultra
Hatch.
the hatchback that had like the ultra high efficiency motor in it, and I think the HX was like the slightly less efficient model.
The HX was the high efficient VTEC model. The VX did not. I don't think had VTEC, and I think you can only get VX and hatch.
I think the VX was the high efficiency VTEC model. So it's like it had VTEC, but it was geared more to like get you 50 miles to the gallon instead of going quickly.
Yeah, I think my HX Civic Coupe had an 8.5 gallon tank. Yeah.
I am already not thrilled that my car's only got a 13 gallon tank in it.
Jeep's got
and
19.
apparently the newer, Scion IM Auris Corolla hatchback still has a 13 gallon tank in it.
Starion had a 20 gallon tank.
Nice. My Camry had an 18.5, and I think the pre-runner had a 20.
That's just not. I like the way that truck looks, but if you don't get it with the 6 and the 4, like it's almost a pointless truck.
Well, at least with the V6, it can get out of its own way, and you could tow stuff with it.
Right.
The 4-cylinder was not that much better on gas than a V6 would be.
Because
it's just still hauling around 3,600 pounds of truck.
Mm-hmm.
It was trip to Charleston and back. I got the best and the worst mileage out of it.
That's true.
It would get 21 city or highway unless driving like a grandma going to Charleston to get 25 and then booking it on the way back to get 17. Or is it vice versa? Whatever.
You know what? Well, that happened. I got the Maxima. Never wrecked the Maxima.
You wish you could have wrecked the Maxima.
The Maxima wrecked me. But then I wrecked the S2000, and it got fixed. Spun out on Graham Street, on-ramp going on to 85, hit a tree. It just looked like I was stopped and just back straight up into the tree. It was
such a weird-looking crash.
Very. I don't have any pictures of it. Emily was out of town. I was on my way home from VBGB. And I drank, but it wasn't like a drunk driving accident. It just, like, the car just slid out from, and the thing is, AP2 S2000s are not known to be tail happy. AP1s are. So I went back. I went back the next day to pick up my sunglasses case and like something like that I dropped. And
You've got the worst luck with your sunglass cases.
Don't I though?
It's like, all right, here's first sunglass case. It shreds at the hinge. Second one shreds at the hinge, and now you've got at least a third one, but they ran out of red, so now you have a black one.
Well, I had to get a brand new pair of sunglasses because the other sunglasses broke. So I went back. There were no tire marks on the road.
I just picked up another pair of sunglasses too, but they're $3 at Ollie's and polarized aviators because that's the thing. Yeah. Those yellow ones I was wearing when y'all were at the house a couple of weeks ago.
Yes,
I have no idea where those are. I think any sunglasses I buy at Big Lots are just going to get lost because I had the pair I had in Vegas. Yeah. Those got lost. Bought another pair of those. Lost those sometime around Brian's wedding. It was just really strange. Like I've got plenty of sunglasses. And none have cost more than $15 lately. Here's purpose. I think this pair here was lovely green lenses.
Mother of God.
God. my Stig. How dare you?
You need to get you a nice, good pair of sunglasses.
No,
And
I
then
don't.
You'll not lose them because you'll be cognizant.
Oh, I will totally lose those too. The most expensive pair I've lost lately were $40 from a golf shop in Myrtle Beach, and lost those going to Grunge Fest at the Music Factory a couple years ago. Yeah, they were in my pocket one moment, and then the next moment, no, they're not. I was like, I like those. Like those look like every other pair of sunglasses I have, dear.
So you don't think you would be more cognizant?
No.
Well, look, you've bought.
That's why I've got $150 in sunglasses, and that means I have 15 pairs at least.
Mr. Steve, you've bought 20 pairs of Bruce's. Time to buy you a pair of Kalins.
Ha! What can I say? It is my favorite ZZ Top song.
I think mine's Tube Snake Boogie.
Not cheap sunglasses, huh?
Not really.
Although LaGrange has always had a special place in my heart, too.
Me too, but I can't remember where I first heard that.
I think it was... It might have been My Girl. I know that's where I first heard Edward Winter's Frankenstein.
Save the bees. Oh. I'm out of beer, Steve. You?
Yep.
What do you want next? I have, from my Make Your Six-Packet Saucer, I have the Hemperor. I have
I don't want to smoke my beer.
I have that Triple C Tall Boy. I have the Delirium Tremens. I've got 2 Anderson Valleys left. And then something behind the Zingu. Zingu's for Emmy. And then that Bell's Abracadabra.
I'm going to say it looks like it's a different Bell's bottle behind the Zingu.
There is another Bell's bottle. So if you want that, you can have that. And I'll take the Deliriums. We haven't had a Belgian on here. Not in a while.
Got a new coworker that's Belgian.
Really? What language do they speak?
French and German.
Furman.
Or in this case, English.
Basically. I think overseas, in most of the European countries, they do teach English as a second language. Kalamazoo Stout's the one you got, right?
Correct.
Steve, the Delirium Tremens is down, and the bottle that looks like a salad dressing bottle. With the elephant on it. There's an elephant in the room. A pink elephant.
Pink elephants.
What is that from?
I think it's from Dumbo, not Fantasia. Of something 1940 Disney.
Fuck, man. I was 5 years old.
Wait a minute.
You ever seen Interview with the Vampire? My autobiography.
Shit. Stupid chair leg.
When are we going to get Basta check on here? When
don't know. I guess once
when it's safe.
Yeah, when it's less hellacious out.
I think he's got the hots for Brittany.
Duh. You told me that earlier.
Steve, what are you drinking right now?
Bell's Kalamazoo, just like you announced to the people just a moment ago as I had my head in the fridge. Stout brew of Brewer's Licorice. Shit! I'm gonna need another whiskey just to be able to drink this fucking thing.
Pour some in the glass and try it. And if you don't like it, I'll switch with you. You've had Kalamazoo. There's no way you haven't had Kalamazoo Stout.
I think once it's been beered up, it's less terrible.
You get the flavor of the licorice without the
bite.
Yeah.
It'll do.
Okay, good. Steve hates licorice like I hate dealing with stupid people. I'm drinking a Delirium Nocturnum. It's not a Tremens. It's Delirium Nocturnum. Family brewery since 1654.
Good year.
Well, Steve, you didn't tell any... Wait, get the ABV and everything.
Original 1988 recipe. ABV 6. Named after the city where it all began, Kalamazoo Stout is one of our most classic recipes. This smooth, full-bodied stout offers a blend of aromas and flavors of dark chocolate and freshly roasted coffee, balanced with a significant hop presence.
Nice. I'm doing Delirium Nocturnum.
I mean, the only way this could have been more offensive is like it was made with Brewers Twizzlers.
Ugh.
Yeah.
Do you remember Twizzlers Pull and Peel?
Yep.
Fuck.
It was a really neat concept for a candy I still hate.
Yeah, I don't like
It's
both hard and chewy things.
I would rather just eat birthday candles than have a Twizzlers.
Fair. Delirium Tremens, not much to say. 8.5%. It's Belgian. Looks like a salad dressing bottle.
It looks like it's about to escape the bottle as you have it tilted over. It's just happy to see you.
It's got a foam nipple. It's still going. Look at it. Look at it closely. It's still. So since we have our own collective glasses, we could drink, a little bit of this and then swap if we wanted to.
Okay.
All right, cool. I'll do that. That way, sharing's caring, Steve. The only other pseudo accident I've had was when the hippie rear-ended me in the Jeep, and he had the brand new Dodge Charger and fucked up his Charger.
That's not a very hippie car.
It's not real. It's a V6 Charger.
Yeah, but it would have to be, something Volkswagen of the bug or bus variety.
Yes.
Ka-tink.
That's such a great sound. Oh my god, that's so fucking good. I forgot how good the Delirium stuff is. Got Independence, which is the cesspool of traffic. I'm going to pull out, and you know where Crown Point, Independence.
Yeah. So Sardis North.
Yes, I'm about to turn right, and the Jeep's a stick, so I give it the gas, and I see a car going from middle lane to right lane, and so I hold up, and the guy behind me evidently just heard me, and so takes off and bam, plows right into me. So we pull over. He's like, man, I just bought this car. I don't want to go through insurance. He's like, take a picture of me, my license plate, and my driver's license, and I'll do the same for you, and then let me know how much a brand new bumper costs for you, because it was just bumper damage. And so I go home, brand new bumper, Jeep, steel black bumper, $80, and so I
think that's when you price shop.
Well, I told Guy, I was like, it's $100. He goes, really? I'm like, yep, $100. He goes, okay. Give me your email address. I'll PayPal you the money right now. He goes, will this complete our transaction today? And I said,
how hippie are you? What are you carrying?
Yeah.
What you holding?
Exactly. So I said, yes, sir. This concludes our transaction. If you PayPal me $100, this is done, and I will not pursue it any further. He goes, okay. Seconds later, you have $100. Cool. So I go on the website, $80. It's $38 to ship it. Fuck. If you spend $90,
you get free shipping.
So I got a shorty antenna. So $91 got me that, and I profited $9 from getting rear-ended in the Jeep.
So how's your neck?
Oh, it's still pretty sore, man. Maybe I should sue. No, it's fine. Everything was fine. That's the extent. Although, I will say my sister was out and about, and she called my mom crying one day because she had seen an accident between a motorcycle and a car. And what she saw was not...
The motorcycle won.
Yes. No. No. You should have seen your face, though.
That's impossible.
No, the car pulled out.
It was a Harley versus a smart car. It's about the only way that would work.
Because the Harley outweighs the smart car by several tons. Nope. Crotch rocket going down the road at a normal 45 mile per hour rate speed. Car pulls out, wasn't paying attention. Crotch rocket hits car, and person
rider
flies,
gets ejected.
Flies off of it.
I didn't show you the motorcycle racing game on the Switch, did I?
What's it called?
Motor Rush GT.
You told me about it.
I think I posted a video of me like racing in the rain. Like, neat thing about it, all right, you can race in the oncoming traffic, and if you get hit, it just resets you on the spot. Like, nothing gruesome, nothing dangerous.
Just like in real life.
Nope. I've had a lot of fun playing that one. And at the time, I think it was $1.
You said it's on the Switch?
It's on the Switch.
Okay.
I've had a lot of fun playing that one. Go and race, and if you crash into something, no harm, no foul.
Yeah.
It's like if you run out of time, all right, try it again.
This is not an accident story, but a fun story was when my dad had the Challenger. I think it was a Challenger. He was getting the seats reupholstered, and he didn't have any extra seats to put in it. And at the
variant of Challenger?
73.
Oh,
the good one.
The one gray ones.
Yeah.
It's somehow
he wants a Charger. He doesn't want a Challenger. Gray wants a Charger.
Okay.
I do remember that.
He wanted a 73 Mopar or something. Like
Yes.
I'm gonna find him a Volare and call it a day.
He didn't have other seats to put in it, and at the time, which is rare, that was his only vehicle. So he put 2 buckets, literal bucket. He sat on a bucket and drove that car to and from work. And he would say, if you hit the brakes too hard, you would just fall off of the bucket. That's all he had.
Sounds about my buddy's brother's 240 SX. He had an 89 that the driver's seat was loose.
Oh, yeah.
So he put a big box behind the driver's seat to keep it in place.
Jesus Christ. I think some of the...
Oh, Luke. He became a stay-at-home fascist. So I haven't been in contact with him in a while.
Stay-at-home fascist is a great punk band name also. If I can write it. My handwriting gets way worse as I've been drinking.
Have you tried cursive? In case you need to be...
in cursive.
You need to...
That's all I got for accident. Like, that's the only accidents. Emily got rear-ended at Concord Mills parking lot, but the car got fixed, so no harm, no foul. I did back my Starion up into my Accord.
Dad backed the 87 Toyota pickup into the 84 Blazer, kind of parked it in the driveway. It was a house on a hill, so it's kind of a Y shape.
Yes.
You park 2 cars at the top, but you can only park 2 more cars on the ramp going into it.
Oh.
And I parked it behind the truck, and he's in a rush to get out to wherever. His back's right into it. It knocked off the trim ring of the wheel and knocked off the little chrome thing on the fender of that. Mm-hmm. Punched out the tail of the truck, so it was a really minor wreck.
Steve, he was trying to make a taser. He was trying.
No, this was no.
He was driving.
It was tiny Hilux, so it was a Hazer. Thank you very much.
But it had said Tacoma on it, didn't it?
No, this is pre-Tacoma.
Oh my
God! This is simply an '87 Toyota pickup.
Oh, it's just called Toyota pickup.
This is. Did you ever see that truck? The little off-white truck with the camper shell.
Emily said she was terrified.
Yes. He after that truck was in our family for 20 years, and he sold it to a dude. So still see it riding around town, and now it's got the silver medal from the Civil War in the back. It got awkward. I got rear-ended outside of IKEA from a guy in a newer Corolla.
What year was it?
2010 or so.
Oh.
That's why there's a hole in the bumper of my car.
Wait.
You never noticed that?
No.
That's how minor this wreck was.
That, before you had it.
This is while I've had the Vibe.
You said 2010.
This is a 2010 Corolla that hit me.
Oh, God.
No.
What year was this? Did this happen? That's what I meant. When you said 2010, I was like, wait a second.
No. I got the car in 2014.
Okay.
5 years ago, maybe.
Steve, it's been a long 2 weeks.
Yeah,
I'm sorry.
I think that car has been hit a couple of times, but the bumpers are made of petrified plastic, so it's fairly indestructible. That's, I don't need to replace it. It's always more for entertainment value that I'm looking at what's next, but.
Fair.
It's not out of necessity. I'm taking the car into the shop tomorrow to get it to skirt inspection because that's an ordeal. That's how I wound up with the baby Raptor a year ago, was borrowing Russ's 99 B3000. The Ranger.
Oh, yeah.
That thing had 230 on it.
And drove like it.
Yes. And some octagonal tires, so I had to wear earplugs driving that thing. It was so noisy. But it did have a good stereo. Mm-hmm. And that was right after Keith Flint died. So I was bumming the Prodigy in this truck with a crazy-ass stereo. It was awesome because it had a USB aftermarket head unit in it. Mm-hmm. So it was Friday. I was playing the Prodigy at home and playing artist radio. That eventually morphs into Eagles of Death Metal. I'm very confused. And then yesterday playing House of Pain, it eventually morphs into the Nine Inch Nails.
What was the text I sent you?
The
House of Pain mashup with oh God, I have it. We both have it.
Like I said, the other day I picked up 2 boxes of cheap wines, so all bets are off.
Well, so I don't have to work tomorrow.
Got cracking on one of them last night, and hey, it worked.
I don't have to work tomorrow, so if we keep this fucking train going for a little while, that's fine by me, sir. You sent me that, and I immediately went to AJ pun mode because that's the only thing I know. You've taught me well, sir. But because of the Mexican restaurants closed, we can't fucking...
They're actually closed?
I don't know if it's closed or not, but if they're open, I might just walk up there when we get done and see if they're doing takeout, because, man, On the Border does takeout, but the problem is, half the reason I went was to go shoot the shit with Andy.
Oh, shit, how's he doing?
He's okay. I was like, what are you doing? He's like, trying not to be an alcoholic and getting better at golf. So all
right. I do not see anything surrounding.
Did you watch that mashup I sent you of Slayer with B-52s?
What? No.
We'll do that.
I don't see that, and no, I don't want to try to do video.
I will. This is a mashup of the B-52s, Raining Lobsters.
Perfect. How in the what in the huh?
I'm surprised you didn't click on it. Steve, I think we need to switch up and then start the band name origins.
Sure.
All right, before I look anything up, the Soundgarden got their name. So band name origins on if you want to hear an explanation of this. Where did you get your band name from? Your group name? Blah, 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 blah. Soundgarden got their name from there's a statue in downtown Seattle called the Soundgarden, and it's like a sculpture, and that's where they got their name from.
I think it's a NOAA. It's an NOAA park named as such.
Which is NOAA is?
National Oceanic Atmospheric Association.
Administration, I
think. Them too.
But yeah.
Yeah, that sounds more right. 3 out of 4 ain't bad.
I think we should go through shit we know the origins of and then look up shit we don't know, because I think that would be more entertaining.
All right. I can immediately think of 4.
Okay, so I did mine, and you do yours.
Eagles of Death Metal, which of course, burns off Queens of Stone Age, which is my other one, came from the band arguing with a guy in a bar thinking that Poison is death metal. And Jesse Hughes responds, dude, Poison are the Eagles of death metal.
Jesse Hughes is the
singer.
Jesse Hughes looks
Mr.
like...
Mustache. He looks like the dude from Evening Muse.
I was going to say that
Jesse
looks like Commissioner Gordon in the new Batman movies.
Oh, yeah.
What's his
Gary Oldman.
Gary Oldman.
Because
Gary Oldman's character.
Yes, speaking of an everyman, oh my Allah, that guy's incredible.
Gary Everyman.
Yes.
All right, so...
I think now Oldman's quite accurate, but whatever.
Old Everyman. So we got Soundgarden, Eagles to the... You had said old PJ, so I might... I'm gonna leave...
Okay.
I'll leave you that one. I'll give you Toad the Wet Sprocket.
Ooh.
They got their name from a Monty Python sketch. It was a fake band name John Cleese created. Like, we are Toad the Wet Sprocket. And they were like, let's just use that.
Yes.
And then John Cleese later was like, I was listening to I was watching MTV one day, and I saw a band called Toad the Wet Sprocket. I was like, what the fuck? Somebody actually used it.
That's amazing.
I thought you knew that.
I think I might have heard that, and that was in one ear and out the next.
In one ear, out your mother.
Heyo. More Soundgarden for you?
More Soundgarden, yes.
Nice.
What you got, Steve?
So Queens of the Stone Age, they landed on that because Kings of the Stone Age sounded a little too macho.
Well, I'll be honest, man. Like from the 60s, 70s, like when metal first started, it was very homoerotic. Like the only people who went to those shows, like a Zeppelin show, were men, and they would go to a concert where all the men had like flowing long hair and their shirts were ripped open, showing like, so it was a very unintentional homoerotic experience at first. So it wasn't
until Judas Priest made it a little more leather and spiky clad, because that was the gay culture of the 70s coming out to play and becoming metal culture, and that caught on. It's like, well, who's zooming who?
Yeah. And now that we're on that topic, no, you didn't go yet. No, you did. You did. Okay. Led Zeppelin. Their teacher said, that's going to sell like a lead balloon. Led Zeppelin.
And they made it LED because LEAD is like, what the hell the Lead Zeppelin?
The one in front. This is good. It just doesn't, it's weird. The Kalamazoo.
Uh-huh.
How you like your...
Oddly enough, they pair nicely.
They really do. What's your next?
Caius. Which
Please
is
go. Are you on the Josh Homme kick?
When am I not? That was a creature from Dungeons and Dragons.
Ooh.
Something
Mr. King or Mr. Jansen aren't on here.
I've never been in a hurry to play that, but I think it's funny. The stories all surrounding that and the satanic panic of the 80s that also surrounded that game. Oh no.
Yes.
These kids are into witchcraft instead of imaginary sky monster.
Breaking Benjamin. Benjamin Burnley, the singer and founder of Breaking Benjamin.
I think I can right now.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, I can break your Benjamin. I got 250s.
I got a couple, but I don't want to tell you where they are in the house.
I was like, I owe you money. However, I'm a little worried about the everything.
There's not really a rush on that.
Yeah.
So I know where you live, and I love you, and I don't care if I really get it back anytime soon.
I was going to mow your lawn for you for a while.
Well, one of my employees...
Remember, that would take no time.
I just gave one of my employees several $100 to get him a new scooter so he can get to work without having to pay for Ubers, because his old scooter kicked the bucket. So
Yamaha Zuma or nothing.
He told...
Those are the coolest looking cheap scooters with double headlights.
So he was going to transfer to another store because to be closer. I was like, look, you don't want to work for somebody else because they're not going to care as much as I do. So here's several $100 here for a down payment. Go get you a new scooter and still work for. He didn't want to leave. He's like, you don't have to do that. I'm like, I don't have to do that.
Don't worry about it.
I want to do it.
Yeah.
I want to keep good people, and keeping you here is worth $400. It keeping you here is worth the money. So you're reliable and you're good and you listen to me. So that's pretty much all I care about. So I digress. What was I talking about?
Breaking Benjamin.
Oh,
Then came the cash. Then came the cash.
Oh yeah, Benjamin Burnley is the founding member of that band. So he used to play open mic nights all the time, and the guy who hosted it, they had a good relationship. So Ben was like playing one night, and he was doing like a big finale and playing, and then like knocked the microphone over and like broke the mic stand, the microphone. He's like, and got the other microphone. He's like, well, thank you, Mr. Benjamin, for breaking all my shit and breaking Benjamin.
Ah,
That's how they got that name. You're next.
Incubus.
Do go on. I don't know this.
They were looking for band names in the dictionary, landed on Incubus because it simply said sex in the descriptor of said word, for it being this woman, monster, demon, sex-obsessed thing.
I thought that was a succubus.
And then the male version thereof.
Okay. There's okay.
We're gonna say that it's the beer talking as I am too.
There's masculine and feminine.
Yeah, so it was the masculine version thereof. But because there was sex in the descriptor of this, and they were 15 at the time picking a band name, and hey, it stuck.
I'm pretty sure Brandon Boyd is in between our ages. He might be closer to yours, but I think when Make Yourself came out, he was 18. And Make Yourself came out in 99, so y'all are the same age.
That seems plausible.
Okay, Google. How old is Brandon Boyd?
44 years old.
Oh, never mind.
Oh, shit. I said they were really young when Make Yourself and the precursors to it came out.
Really young.
Like, science is incredible.
Yeah, they were really young. Chevelle, their dad, is a huge
Chevy fan. Did you hear that Smoking Tire with the two dudes from it, the two brothers?
I did.
That
did you listen to it?
Awesome.
I love Chevelle so much.
I think was that the last guested episode?
I think so.
Because now they're kind of stuck in a rut with like.
Do you know who was on there? Christian James Hand was on that episode.
Yeah,
which was us.
Have you heard the two other episodes that he was on?
No.
That's how I first heard of him, and therefore found the collection thereof.
Well,
and I emailed him, and he sent me the link with everything he's done. So that's the other podcast collection in the car.
Jesus. Well,
it's technically it's 20 gigs of stuff, but some of them are uncompressed and massive files, but it's still days upon hours of files to listen to.
Mm-hmm.
That's, him dissecting songs, and it's all snarkier than Beato does.
of course. Well, the first three Chevelle albums were the three brothers. Pete Loeffler is the singer. Sam Loeffler is the drummer. And the bassist was the other brother. He quit after the third album. So then they had their brother-in-law, who was married to their sister, Dean Bernardini. He played on the next albums. Well, the newest album is just Pete and Sam. And they're taking a touring basis. So Pete's playing all the bass parts on the album. But I really... You haven't delved very much into Chevelle's cat.
I've liked what I've heard, but now there's 10 albums to play catch up with, and
there's a lot.
I got some time to kill.
Well, the first album is point number 1. Honestly, it's okay. I'd skip it. The next one is Wonder What's Next. That had The Red, Send the Pain Below, and Closure on it. That whole album is fucking great. The next one is This Type of Thinking Can Do Us In. That had the clincher. Do you remember the clincher? Now Saturate. Could we have known? Never would I. Hope to nail down a stand for nothing less. Nothing. And then Vitamin R. Well, if they're making it and they're pushing it. You remember that one? That was
apparently not.
All right, never mind.
That sounds, it sounds very you.
Yeah.
But you singing their song sounds like you singing anything. So it's natural that's one of your favorite bands.
I wasn't really singing it, but thank you. They had that one, and they've had a lot of fucking albums, but that's totally up my my new stuff is a mix of that and Alice in Chains. It's harmony and melody mixed with modern hard rock. That's kind of what the dealio is. But that was a great interview. I need to listen to more Christian James Hand. Had I been furloughed or laid off, I would be listening to way more of that.
That's why I keep badgering you to get a better head unit of the car.
Betcher.
I mean, I could put them on tape for you, but that takes time because that's...
If I get the Scooby...
I only have the technology to do 1-to-1.
If I get the Subi, it doesn't really... I don't really have to update the head unit because...
In an 09, maybe. Or at least it might have an aux in.
Well, yeah. I have the... what I got for free from Nationwide, I got the Alexa for the car. So I have...
How does that function?
You plug it into the aux port and say, hey, Alexa, do this. And that's what it does.
Okay.
I will recommend you some Chevelle when we get out of here and to listen to. I think
particularly the Super Sport.
Wait, I did Soundgarden. You did Eagles, good death metal.
Eodium.
I did Breaking Benjamin, and then you did Caius. Chevelle, and it's your turn.
Then it's my turn.
Yep.
Pearl Jam was guys in the band. His grandmother name was Pearl. She enjoyed
necklaces.
Or canning preserves. And now they're the sole proprietors of the grunge movement, so we must wrap Eddie Vedder in bubble wrap.
And Jerry. And I've gotten so into Jerry Cantrell's solo work lately.
Dude, Anger Rising is such a rad song.
Do you know who's playing bass on that?
Nope.
Of the whole album? Robert Trujillo.
Whoa.
He's in the video.
Of
Metallica.
I haven't watched videos in so long. The other music podcast you're not listening to is That Awful Sound.
Yeah.
Because went down the rabbit hole of looking up Woodstock 94, 99.
Yeah.
And somehow fell into that, and that's how I discovered that one, where Alexander Edward, the host of the show, has a fantastic radio voice. Hey, what's that like?
Couldn't tell you.
Hey, you're listening to the Cars, Bars, and Guitars podcast. If I actually gave a shit, I'd somewhere like this all the time.
Well, it's really compressed audio with NPR News. From NPR News in Charlotte, North Carolina, I'm AJ.
I'm Steve.
Steve, who are we brought to you today by?
Cheap Sunglasses and other ZZ Top songs. Thanks for stopping by.
Very nice, Steve. I'm not asking for much. Oh, look, take me downtown. I'm just looking for some tush. And now to you, Kaya Rizdal.
I'm Kai Rizdal.
I like Kai Rizdal. Have you seen his picture?
I'm getting him confused with Ira Flato. I'm Ira Flato, and this is Science Friday.
I'm Ira Rizdal.
Ira Rizdal. It's gonna morph into Irisdal. Irisdal.
Irisdal. Soylent Green is people.
Spoiler alert.
That was a good one. I'm almost out of booze, Steve. I think my favorite... What's your favorite solo Jerry Cantrell work? Is it Anger Rising?
I have a really hard time not answering that. What not answering with that song, rather.
Oh, I'm going Angel Eyes.
Nice.
Do you remember that one? That one and My Song.
That was a radio hit too.
Oh yeah.
It was real confusing. Like hearing that, it's like this sounds very Alice in Chains, and it's not technically Alice.
If you want to know where they got that sound from, it's Jerry fucking Cantrell. Shit, it's still my turn.
People can tell when you Jerry Cantrell. People can tell.
It's still my turn. It's still my fucking turn. God damn it. Band name origins. Because you did Pearl Jam. I'm going off of memory. I don't want to go off of looking shit up yet, because it's going to get really goofy in a little while. I think it's pretty obvious where Rage Against the Machine came from, so I'm not going.
Anger against everybody.
Audioslave came to Chris Cornell in a dreamlike vision from his interview. It was a dreamlike vision, and he saw it in his mind, and that's what they named it. I can't do anything better than that right now, so. Although, Deftones, everything was deaf back in the early 90s, like Def Jam comedy, blah, blah, blah. And they were like, well, we want to be really cool, and we want to be hip, so we play music, we're going to be Deftones. That was theirs. What you got, Esteban?
Dead Kennedys, name not meant to insult the assassinated Kennedy brothers, but to quote vocalist Jello Biafra, to bring attention to the end of the American dream, when the band formed in the late 70s during Carter. And man, once Reagan hit, it got worse.
There's a song.
And man, what's now, I'm surprised Jello Biafra hasn't simply spontaneously combusted.
There's a song by Lamb of God where the lyrics go, paint your picket fences red with the American dream. Well, I'm almost out of booze, so what do you think you would want next, Steve, out of my collection? I would prefer not to drink the last KBS or the Omegang. Everything else is fair game.
I'm gonna CCC that beer.
Triple C.
Yep.
I triple C what you did there. Get me the Hemperor. I'm feeling a little. Actually, you know what? You got the last one.
What's a weed?
You got the last one.
Oh my!
I got this one.
Get you some Weedy Bird.
It's your turn anyway.
Hey, Depeche Mode. After a French fashion magazine, Depeche Mode, literally, Fashion Dispatch.
Look, I've made an audible. I'm going Omegang 3 Philosophers Bourbon Barrel Aged.
Oh, snap.
We've had it on here before, but it's delicious.
Hey, I just noticed you rehomed your pie.
I did.
I made a home delivery the other day of one.
You told me about that.
Yes.
Did that go smoothly?
Yes, everything was fine.
All right, cool.
I showed Trent the ins and outs of how this thing operates. And
Resner?
Morgan.
By the way, the four-headed rhino thing on Super Mario World
is named Resner. It's so rad. Yeah. Game already has a killer soundtrack, but also like all the Koopa Kids named for musicians, like even Lemmy.
Yes.
Come on, like Lemmy and.
Oh my God, we could. Sorry guys, we could name like there was Lemmy and then Roy.
Yeah,
father's
Orbison.
name. Mr. Roy. I need to go see them, but I'm afraid to go see them. God damn it, because he's 73.
Last weekend we visited Kalen's folks. Also was another really nice day, like today out. So I was like, oh, let's go have pool dunking day or pool floating day and attach hot tub. So it's a little better equipped there to socially distance, boy yourself, whatever.
Thomas and I are thinking about doing a bunch of shrooms and going tubing down the Nantahala River.
Ooh.
Are you interested?
Maybe.
Cool.
Keep not doing any tube trip, courtesy of like Adam keeping on doing that every so often.
Right? Lincoln Park.
Every city has a Lincoln Park, and they decided to make it an intentional typo.
Correct. Because their original band name was Hybrid Theory.
Which became their first album, and I think
Because there was another band called Hybrid Theory.
Oh, what the hell, Prius?
That.
Dire Straits, named for the band's financial situation at the time of forming. I remember seeing that on VH1's, I think, pop-up video or behind the music or something like that.
So you know how they got the guitar sound out of Money for Nothing, the first part? That very lo-fi sound? It's a half-cocked wah pedal. So they're just playing the regular guitar, but he has the wah pedal about halfway down, and he left it there. That's how you get that sound.
Cool.
Oh, yeah. Daft Punk. The Melody Maker singles column in May of 1993, writer Dave Jennings described Darlin's Cindy So Loud as a daft punky thrash. Darlin members Thomas Bangalter and Guy Manuel de Cristo were reading and nabbed the phrase for their new band's name. So they were Darlin. They were called Darlin. And they saw that daft punky thrash as, let's just rename it Daft Punk. And that's what they did. And I don't fucking like them at all.
They've got their moments. Harder, better, faster, stronger? You betcha. Cake. Rather than meaning the food stuff, the name is meant to be, quote, like when something insidiously becomes part of your life. Like, we mean it more as something that cakes on your shoe and just sort of there until you get rid of it. Which is how and why the distance will never leave your short skirt and long jacket.
And now we're keeping the distance. We're keeping the speed. We're all alone. All alone in our time of need. Because we're lounging and scrounging and I thought this through.
Probably the best one I saw was the Cure parody. Monday you can stay inside.
Yes.
Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, stay inside. Friday you can stay inside. It's Saturday. I'm inside.
Steve,
Saturday, I'm still inside.
Steve, 30 Seconds to Mars.
That's way too quick a trip.
Highbrow stuff from the crew. They found a thesis from a former Harvard professor that suggested that the human race is
You speak like I do.
The human race is on an exponential technological curve that's 30 seconds to Mars. That was where they got it from. That's the story.
Sounds like America's COVID pie chart.
Yeah, no. That's all I got. And we got more.
Yeah. Well, one more from the band Bad Religion, because this paragraph, Greg Gaffin on their name, you have to remember we were 15-year-old punks. We wanted to piss people off. Anything that might make parents, teachers, and people with authority bristle was up for discussion. We also wanted a name that would suggest a great logo for stickers and t-shirts. We needed names that were compelling but too repulsive. Smegma, vaginal discharge, and head cheese might make for great logos, but were quickly rejected as not representative of our songs. We played around with a lot of names involving the word bad family planning, bad politics, and when we got hot on Bad Religion, it seemed perfect. That year, 1980, was a time of rising prominence for televangelists like Jimmy Swaggart, Pat Robertson, and Jim Baker, with 2 Ks, you dunce.
Okay.
The year before, Jerry Falwell had founded the Moral Majority, which was a leading powerful influence on the presidential election between Carter and Reagan. Reagan was a hot topic. Stupid actor. Mm-hmm. And those TV preachers seemed like a good target to us, though we didn't think they could possibly last more than a few years. Whoops. We knew that most people were so defensive about their religious ideas that they would be rightly offended by our name, a major plus. And then Brett came with a logo that represented our philosophical stance. We felt complete. Crossbuster. is what they call their logo.
I need to listen to more Bad Religion.
Yes, you do. The entire 90s catalog is where it's at.
Gotcha. Fall Out Boy.
Ugh, it's a Simpsons episode.
Yep.
I was like, I hate that band so fucking much. And my buddy that's in the Navy that's now stationed once again in Texas, he became a huge Fall Out Boy fan after being a big Cornhead prior to.
What the fuck?
I don't know. What the hell, Josh?
I'm not a huge. I don't like Fall Out Boy at
so
all.
Bad.
But look, Patrick Stump, the singer of Fall Out Boy, is a really good singer. Really good singer. You should listen to him singing with Daryl Hall, What Becomes of the Brokenhearted.
Okay.
It's really good. Like, as long as they're not singing Fall Out Boy songs,
all right.
it's really good. You just have to take my word on it. Human League. Any guesses?
Sounds like a union.
Well, the Human League is, you know what the big hit was. Don't you want me, baby? That one.
I was about to land on a Depeche Mode song instead. Whoops.
Yep. They were initially called The Future. But when the dulcet tone singer Phil Oakley joined, they decided on an overhaul. The Human League was a name of, yes, a futuristic society in a 1970s sci-fi board game called Star Force Alpha Centauri.
Wow.
The Human League. Steve, let's crack up in these boozes. And a 1, 2, and a skiddly diddly. Dude.
Hey, then explode. Good.
Nice. Steve, what are you drinking?
Triple C IPA, brought to you by Triple C Brewery of Charlotte, North Carolina. It's weighing in at 6.2 ABV. Surgeon General's warning.
We don't need that.
It really has nothing to say except know your craft.
Surgeon General Hospital. That's a soap opera I could get behind. Steve, I'm drinking what we've had on here before, and it made it to our Hall of Fame, and I threw it away because the table's getting smaller. Gang, 3 Philosophers aged in bourbon barrels. It's a blend of a quadruple ale, Belgian Creek Ale, with cherries aged in bourbon barrels, and it's coming in at 9.5%. And I'm so glad I don't have to work tomorrow. All right. You're next, Steve.
Hanoi Rocks. From Hanoi Rock, a type of pink heroin produced in Hanoi, Vietnam. The name was invented by Andy McCoy as an allusion to the Johnny Thunders / the Ramones cover, Chinese Rocks, as Chinese Rock, as a type of white heroin that could be further refined into Hanoi Rock. Wink.
Yeah.
That song is awesome.
Yep. Weezer.
Breathing trouble?
Yes. Rivers Cuomo has asthma.
If you have Weezer, please consult your physician.
Yes.
My new insurance takes place the 1st.
Rivers Cuomo has asthma. That's why they call it Weezer. You're next.
Okay. Oh wow. Hoobastank.
Yeah.
I liked them until The Reason came out.
That's such a horrible, cheesy.
They sounded very Incubus-y.
Oh, yeah.
And then The Reason is just such garbage. It was huge.
Love Crawling in the Dark, and I love Running Away. They used to play Running Away at when we had a home cross-country meet. They would play Running Away while we were running.
That's perfect. Derived from a street where Doug Rob's brother, the vice president of BMW Motorcycles, who lives in Germany, lives, called Huba Street. Or, quote, something like that. But Huberstrasse would totally work.
Mm-hmm. System of a Down. Any ideas?
They didn't name it Syndrome of Down, so no.
Serge Tankian with a forensic explanation. It comes from a poem our guitarist Darren Malekian had written called Victims of a Down. He brought it to us, and system was chosen as a better and stronger word because it makes it into a whole instead of people in particular.
Iron Maiden. Steve Harris named the band after the Iron Maiden torture device as shown in the 1939 film The Man in the Iron Mask.
Yeah, that's true.
Oh, wait, I was talking with Kalen earlier about Dumas, and apparently he wrote a cookbook in 1859.
Mm-hmm.
So, looking at lamb recipes yesterday, that popped up. So, gonna need to try that sooner or later.
Coldplay.
Ugh.
It could have been worse. They could have been called Starfish. However, when their friends band Coldplay decided they no longer wanted the name, Chris Martin leapt on it. The first Coldplay took their title from an anthology of children's poems called Child's Reflections: Coldplay. All right. I know you don't like Coldplay, but Clocks is... I love the song Clocks.
That's the one song in there I like.
Yeah. Beato did one on Clocks. You're next.
Then you've seen my clock wall because it was inspired by the wine vault.
Steve has a huge clock wall. Avenged Sevenfold.
Something biblical.
If Cain shall be avenged sevenfold, truly Lamech 70 and sevenfold. This quote from Genesis 4:24, which is Steve and I's least favorite made-up book. Your turn.
You and what, Sega? Husker Du.
Husker Du.
Named for Husker Du, a Scandinavian memory-based board game that means, properly spelled as Husker Du, without the umlauts. Do you remember?
Is that what that's called?
In
Umlaut.
Yeah, it says macarons, but in German it's umlaut. So umlaut is the best word ever.
Ah.
Do you remember in Danish and Norwegian? The band chose this after it was shouted out by an audience member at one of their early shows.
Huh. Interesting. I did too. You do too.
Joy Division.
Go on.
During World War II, let's say some of the prettier prisoners were forced into the Joy Division, so to say, for the German soldiers.
Ew.
In order to avoid confusion with London punk band Warsaw Pact, the band renamed themselves from Warsaw to Joy Division in late 1977, borrowing their new name from the prostitution wing of the Nazi concentration camp mentioned in the 1955 novel The House of Dolls. It's already a depressing band to listen to.
Yes.
Level Tears Apart, and then everything else, like, I'm not keen on.
Captain Beefheart.
Ooh. You and what Chef Boyardee?
Some shady origins here, most of them involving a penis. Free jazz visionary Don Valet, nom de plume, most likely comes from old mucker Frank Zappa, but possibly also from Valet's Uncle Alan, who repeatedly liked to whip the old chap out and compare it to a beef heart. Awesome.
That's incredible.
Oh my goodness. Well, what you got next?
Kaiser Chiefs. After the South African Kaiser Chiefs football club, the former team of long-serving member Leeds United captain Lucas Redeby.
Bless you.
Kasabian, after Linda Kasabian, a member of the Manson family, famous for serving as Charles Manson's getaway driver.
Oh, yeah.
Both of those bands you should listen to, by the way.
And the song Getaway Driver from Audio Slave. Or Getaway Car, sorry. Foster the People. Any ideas?
Foster the Children.
Classic mishearing. Lead singer and band leader Mark Foster intended his team to be called Foster and the People, but people just got it wrong. But it worked. Foster told USA Today, the first few shows we played were for charities. It kind of clicked. Foster the People. That's us. I got Leonard Skinner on here,
That.
which you already know.
Uh-huh.
It was there.
But do the people know?
A series of names before choosing that, in honor or a piss take of their old PE teacher, Leonard Skinner, a legend among his pupils for getting all head up about long hair. He wouldn't have got along with the band then. Relationships improved as Skinner later emceed one of their gigs.
KMFDM. Kill motherfucking Depeche Mode. No.
What? Please, do go on.
An initialism for the nonsensical and grammatically incorrect German phrase, "Kein Mehrheit für die Mitglied," which was intended to translate to "no pity for the majority."
Nice.
How very apt.
That's awesome.
Chosen as a motto from words cut of a German newspaper for exposition of young European artists, and afterwards it was initialized and as the name of the band. Also, a band I've seen 3 times.
4 times more than I
It's
have.
fucking incredible. It's bonkers McTavish. Obligatory Marilyn Manson
Yeah.
for Marilyn Monroe and Charles Manson.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you, Brian Warner. You're a pal.
I mean, Charles Monroe sounds like your old uncle, who's kind of racist. Bring Me the Horizon. Do you know who they are?
More pop punk than I care to listen to. Yes.
Yep. Singer Oliver Sykes told Spin they named themselves after a line from Pirates of the Caribbean right at the end of the film. Johnny Depp says, "Bring me that horizon," and that's where they got it. I just stole my
I'd say
band's
it's like
name.
that
So.
totally makes it fairly new, but that's still within the last 20 years. Whoops.
Green Day.
A day spent smoking weed.
Yes.
I saw that on here. That's awesome.
What else you got?
The Misfits.
I
The
don't know
band
that
was
one.
named after a motion picture released in 1961 entitled The Misfits. The Misfits skull logo was derived from a villain of the 1946 motion picture, The Crimson Ghost.
Fountains of Wayne.
You and what's Stacy's mom?
They named themselves after a store in Wayne, New Jersey that sold garden ornaments.
9 Inch Nails. Sole constant member Trent Reznor chose it because it could be abbreviated easily. N-I backwards in, you bet your ass, bud.
Mm-hmm.
He just released Ghosts 5 and 6, by the way.
Yes, he did.
I was like, more instrumentals. Cool. But I will listen to more of your screaming, sir. And denied the band name had any literal meaning. That's a big fucking nail, dude.
Well, he denies it, but in biblical terms, I'm pretty sure that Jesus was nailed to the cross with 9-inch nails.
That's how you know he was well hung.
Because he was hung like this.
Too far. It's not social distance nails.
Jay-Z.
That's not his real name.
Sean Carter's his real name. Jay-Z is either a tribute to his old mentor, rapper Jazz-O, or a skit on his old childhood nickname Jazzy, or indeed another play on the J/Z subway station near his Brooklyn roots.
NoFX. Guitarist Eric Melvin says he came up with the name inspired by the broken up punk band Negative FX. The name is also meant to symbolize the band's rejection of gimmickry that the band was seeing in music at the time. Which is funny because they're often a funny punk band.
Foo Fighters.
Something about imaginary flying things.
World War II. Allied flying aces refer to UFOs as Foo Fighters. And there you go.
And yeah, where can I get my XR71 disintegrator pistol? Thank you very much. The only Foo Fighters album I possess was their debut.
I own the color and the shape. And that's the only one I possess. That was the second
But that's
one? The self-titled was the first one because
Yeah.
that had Big Me on it.
Mhm.
And Monkey Wrench was on
that
Color
was
and Shape.
later.
Color and Shape had My Hero on it. We need to do a Foo Fighters
That
episode.
would totally fly.
I got
Just-
to pee.
it's
Okay.
Can you keep the people entertained?
I'm just going to keep reading Wikipedia to the masses like per usual.
Oh, fuck,
Don't you
yes.
worry. Nirvana. Before settling on a permanent name, the band had never played under... I'm sorry, folks, I can't read. Before settling on a permanent name, the band had played under many different names, including Throat Oyster and Ted, Ed, and Fred. In Buddhism, Nirvana means release from the cycle of rebirth and suffering. Cobain chose the name and defined it as bandmates as a word as the attainment of perfection. They're quite good. I do like them a lot. Oasis. The opposite of Chevelle, by the way, when two brothers keep dueling. Evolved from an earlier band called The Rain, composed of Paul Googsy McGooglin, goodness, bass guitar, and Paul Bonehead Arthur's guitar, Tony McCarroll, drums, and Chris Hutton, vocals. Unsatisfied with Hutton, Arthur's auditioned acquaintance Liam Gallagher as a replacement. After Gallagher joined the group, the band's name was changed to Oasis, which was inspired by a place where Inspiral Carpets played, and the Oasis Leisure Centre in Swindon. I would have figured they just enjoyed imaginary watering holes in the desert. I was way off.
Crowded House. Originally called the Mulans. Mullanes. Just look at singer Neil Finn's Twitter name. Neil Mulan Finn. New Zealand pop classicist Crowded House. I didn't know they were from New Zealand.
Me neither.
Well, that's interesting.
Have you heard of the band the Datsuns?
Did they later change to the Nissans?
Negative. That is my favorite New Zealand band. Listen to Motherfucker from Hell and then anything else.
My favorite female artist from New Zealand is Natalie Imbruglia.
I thought she was Australian.
That's fucking same thing.
I was talking about.
She was married to Daniel Johns from Silverchair. The singer from Silverchair.
Who is Australian, damn it.
Yeah.
Otherwise, that's a long distance marriage. Like, who are you, my parents?
Yeah. Well, Crowded House, New Zealand pop classicist Crowded House chose their name when they signed up with Capitol Records, who fancied something more sellable. Bassist Nick Seymour was always inviting people around to the band's Hollywood apartment, which got rather
crowded.
Yeah.
That's not good social distancing. I need a distance cap. And said, this is going to be a good nightcap. It's only 6.5 right now, y'all.
I really wish the Mexican... that was such good soak up all the alcohol food.
Yep.
But you have picado waiting for you, and I have whatever I make myself because Emily's... She's not a bad cook. She's just not a cook at all. She just doesn't... When she's made dinner... This is our 10 years together this year. And she's made dinner for me 3 times. And it's been palatable and good every time. She just has no confidence in her own cooking. She better get confidence because she doesn't go back to work until after April 30th. She's getting paid for it, though. That's the good part. She's being paid to sit around.
It's pretty rad. Did she play Crash Team Racing yet?
She's played it before, but she hasn't played it with me. Because
she was real excited to have that as part of your PlayStation collection, by the way.
Not even asked about it. You've met her, right? Short little half Chinese? Okay. I was just making sure.
I remember specifically that game she was interested in. It's like, by the way, you've got access, and if something happens, let me know. I can re-up it. I can try to make this work. Just don't try to make 64 games work because that's still difficult.
Unobtainium?
Few and far. You can get Mario 64 and Mario Kart on 64 working, but everything else, forget it.
No.
Given my last experience getting Trent's up and running, it's like, hey, let's see if Dr. Mario 64 works. Fuck to the no. You can either see the background or you can see the pill, but not both. Or and it's running so slow. Of all the games, you wouldn't think that a puzzle game that initiated in 1990 is that difficult.
I think of the Mario games, I forgot which one it was, but the one where it's the mixture of Super Mario 1, 2, and 3 is one of my favorites.
The All-Stars?
It is, but it's like the mix
it's
of
like when they had the all the original games, but with the fresh coat of paint on it.
No, it's literally like the Mario 3 graphics in Mario 1 and 2 levels. It's awesome. That one's good. And then the other one's Dr. Mario
the hacks?
Yeah,
the hacks.
Yeah, the hacks, not the regular.
I've been peddling these things for 2 years, and I can't remember anything except there's Brutal Mario and Dr. Mario World, not to be confused with the Android game that's kind of dreadful. Hey, it's like, you did a thing. Hey, want to buy this? No. Leave me alone.
Aerosmith, Steve.
Were they enamored with people building aircraft?
Joey Kramer has said that he and his girlfriend were listening to Harry Nilsson's Aerial Ballet when the couple began toying with the cool band names that had Aero in them. He liked how Aerosmith sounded, but the band he was in at the time didn't. It was shelved until Kramer joined Joe Perry and Steven Tyler's group. He convinced them then, however, it had nothing to do with Sinclair's Lewis's novel Aerosmith from high school, Arrow Smith. So that's where that came from.
That's one of those bands I really enjoyed a catalog up until about 1995.
Pink.
Killed
Awful.
It. Mm-hmm.
We discussed that on one of the very early episodes.
I think that's been repeated.
Yeah.
That horse is still very dead. The Offspring, band members Dexter Holland and Greg Kay decided to form a band after attending a Social Distortion concert. Hey, I've been there too. The band was called Manic Subsidal, who suddenly changed their name to The Offspring in 1986.
Manic Subsidal. Where's Dexter Holland from? Let's guess. I'm going to say California. What do you say?
I think it's very SoCal. San Diego, LA.
Dexter's a killer name. Wink.
You in what laboratory?
While you're looking that up, Steve. Alice Cooper?
Was it Vince is his real name?
Vince Furnier played the part of Alice Cooper.
And still does. Dad saw Alice Cooper at NC State back in 73.
I'll bet that was awesome.
Yeah.
Because mostly that in 73 was
the
bonkers.
That was the peak of his powers.
Of course. You had Bad Company, didn't you?
Bad Religion, but not Bad Company.
Ooh. Well, are you still looking that? Is it still loading?
It is stuck.
My Wi-Fi's fucked. So
also with more people working and schooling from home, it's been noticeably reduced in its powers.
I wonder if Emily will reset the Wi-Fi for me. I'm going to text her, even though she's...
Isn't it in a room right behind us?
I mean, yeah, but we're busy.
I need to go reset the Wi-Fi and the P-Fi. What?
Oh, are you going to do that?
It's more a joke than an actual action I need to do, but if I need to go do the thing, I can do the thing.
Bad Company. Singer Paul Rogers said he got the idea from a song, Bad Company, when he saw a poster in 1972 from a Western starring Jeff Bridges. Not that Jeff Bridges. In 1970.
It's been around for a hot minute.
Not that long.
Oh, it was real funny seeing day one of quarantine. It's Jeff Bridges in a suit from Tucker. And then day 5 of quarantine, him as the dude.
Yes.
Which is funny because my Facebook profile has remained
me as the dude since Halloween.
Awesome.
And Kaylin as the rug. Her
Emily's cooking dinner.
Her face-based profile is a better picture of us.
It is, but it's not as entertaining. Billy Idol. William Broad is his name. His stage name was born in the punk era when he was fronting Generation X.
Shit.
I will reset the Wi-Fi if you want me to. Billy Idol was coming up with names of Johnny Rotten like Rat Scabies.
Yeah, that was a dude from The Damned.
Yes. Intending Idol to be a play on Idol, I-D-L-E, as well as being an ironic take on a classic rock persona. Steve, take my phone. I'm going to reset my Wi-Fi. Because what else do we have to do? We're over 2 hours in.
Hooray! Black Sabbath, originally known as... That's not how you social distance, but thank you. Originally known as the Earth Blues Company, they later shortened it to Earth, then discarded that band name altogether. Because another band was already using it, they settled on Black Sabbath after attaching the title, which had earlier been used from a 1963 film starring Boris Karloff, into a spooky new song inspired by an apparition seen by bassist Geezer Butler.
Close.
You mean to tell me Bob Dylan isn't really Bob Dylan?
It's Robert
Zed.
Ugh.
A last name switch from his
Zanzibar.
given name of Zetterman to Dylan began when the singer-songwriter was in his late teens. According to the biographer, he was a fan of Matt Dillon, the sheriff on the TV western Gunsmoke.
Different Matt Dillon.
And it's more fun to say this using a Bob Dylan type voice, man.
Yeah, like
in 1958, Bob sold his size score squeeze. He planned to devote his life to music and assumed the name Bob Dylan. The spelling would eventually also be altered for stylistic reasons. He subsequently told new friends that Dylan was his mother's maiden name, even though it wasn't. This is how you don't make use of a Wi-Fi password. Yes?
No, that was this. Bob Dylan, do you know how he used to write songs?
Using a blender?
He would take popular songs and then play the same melody, write different lyrics to them, and then when he got that done, he would write different music to it. So yeah, basically, he would just listen to other people's songs and write the same song with different music and different words. Now, it is kind of genius to do, but come up with your own shit, man. Like, I'm not a big Bob Dylan fan.
Me neither. Kaylin is.
Why? You got more stuff. You were on my phone, so you have your stuff now. Although I have Cheap Trick up.
Nice.
This name was inspired at a Slade concert where bassist Tom Peterson commented that the band used every cheap trick in the book as part of their act. I like this. Kudos to Kaylin for giving us this is really interesting. We're supposed to switch, aren't we?
As you wish.
Thank you, Carrie Always.
Fiddler.
What?
Best band you've never heard of. Because they had the song, I drink cheap beer, so fuck you.
What?
It's a very real thing, because I've heard of that from Jonah Radio.
How good is that?
That's been very instrumental in me discovering new bands, including Fiddler.
Okay.
Hey, your AC is working very well now.
Are you nice and cool?
All the time, especially now.
That
No, it's a black
Ebony
shirt.
and Ivory, buddy.
Heyo. While helping two of his friends from Hawaii find a home in Los Angeles, frontman Zach Carper, neighbor, overheard the pair repeating the skater mantra, "Fiddler!" Don't know. When Carper asked what fiddler meant, he was told it was an acronym for "Fuck it, dog. Life's a risk." The name stuck when every member of the band, with the exception of guitarist Eric Kuhn, had the word tattooed on their bodies after a night of heavy drinking. That's fantastic. But yeah, the song "Cheap Beer" is incredible. Because a lot of it was just, I drink cheap beer, so what? Fuck you!
Check out the after a little while it goes blank.
You in what waveform?
You want to stop it and see what it does?
All right.
That would be exhausting to have to do all over again, wouldn't it? It saved it all, Steve. So, Steve, Chicago, the band, not the city that I've been to. In 1968, the big thing, quote unquote, the big thing, moved to Los Angeles at their manager's request and signed with Columbia Records, which is where Jimmy Garcio?
Not Garcetti?
No,
Not the mayor of L.A.?
Guercio. Garcio.
Guercio?
Who would eventually become
Guercio.
Chicago's producer, changed the name to Chicago Transit Authority in honor of the bus line he used to take to school. It was later just shortened to Chicago after the release of their first album.
Way to go, Jimmy Pardo.
That was a good one. What you got next? Because I got Cream next.
Ooh. Genesis.
Nice.
Named for the Sega and/or high-end Hyundai.
Definitely not the
Book.
fake, the
Nerf.
the nonfiction book. Nonfiction? Fiction. Sorry.
Charterhouse
It's not
School
real.
alumnus Jonathan King attended a concert at Charterhouse in 1968 while the band were still in school. King was a songwriter and record producer who had a single at the time, Everyone's Gone to the Moon. King had the band Genesis, previously naming it after Gabriel's Angels lead singer Peter Gabriel, recalling that he had thought that it was a good name and suggested it was a beginning of a new sound and a new feeling.
More than a feeling?
Wrong band.
Steve, I got Cream. Eric Clapton, Jack Bruce.
You what, Blind Faith?
Eric Clapton, Jack Bruce, and Ginger Baker arrived in this new band, having already earned a lofty reputation in the UK via their work from the Yardbirds and John Mayall. They darn well knew it, too. The name was apparently in reference to the lineup itself, which featured the cream of the crop of the 60s British blues rockers. By the way, Cream, ain't no sunshine on your love, Steve. That's a great song. What you got next?
Hawkwind.
Hawkwind? Hawkwwind?
Pre-Motorhead.
I didn't know that
Named
was a thing.
for Nick Turner's prodigious habit of spitting and flatulence. Hey, man.
Hawkwind.
Much like you, they have a silver machine.
Hey.
Yeah, that was Lemmy's earlier band.
That's the best thing I've heard all fucking day. Def Leppard? Do you know the origins of Def Leppard?
Negative.
Singer Joe Elliott initially coined the name Def Leppard, spelled the correct way, while writing reviews for imaginary rock bands in his high school English class. Tony Kenning, percussionist for the band's original lineup, suggested modifying the spelling to make the name seem less punk. You had Dire Straits already. Doobie Brothers is pretty self-explanatory.
What are they, Green Day?
The Doobie Day? The Green Brothers. Is that like a Blue Man Group offshoot?
That sounds like a HVAC company.
The Blue Man Group and the Green Brothers have now formed the Purple Experience. Wait, that's Jimi Hendrix. You go on. I'm getting way fucked up. I haven't eaten much today.
Pantera, named after Dimebag's car, a De Tomaso Pantera.
Dimebag had a De Tomaso
Fuck
Pantera?
yes.
Oh my god. He was already the baddest motherfucker on the planet. Like, really? That makes me happy.
That was real funny. There was a time at the Cornelius Cars and Coffee when like two of those rolled up.
Was
like,
one dark orange?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was it was two of them and a Lamborghini. It's like, all right, so what you have, the Windsor to Cleveland? Dude just fell over laughing. I don't know. It's got 351 away. Like, fair enough. Yeah,
the Pantera was such a great looking car. It's still such a great looking car. Steve, the Doors?
The Doors of Perception.
Yes.
That was a book. And hey, they're trippy, and that sounds trippy, so let's do trip out with that.
Who wrote that book?
Not Timothy Leary.
Aldous Huxley, whom I assume you know.
Stranger in a Strange Land?
Yes. Dylan, Berlin, Bay of Pigs Invasion, Lawrence of Arabia, British Beatlemania. Oh, that was... There's a porno called Lawrence of Alabia.
Pink Floyd, playing under multiple names including T-Set. Wow. T-Set. As it
S-E-T. T-S-E-T.
T-E-A-S-E-T.
T-Set.
T-Set.
Okay, I thought you meant T-hyphen-S-E-T.
Tea-set. I presume something that is your kit of teacups.
Yes.
When the band found themselves on the same bill as another band with the same name, Syd Barrett came up with the alternative name, the Pink Floyd Sound, after two blues musicians, Pink Anderson and Floyd Council. By the way, which one's Pink?
Yes.
For a time, they oscillated between the T-Set and the Pink Floyd Sound, but with the latter name eventually winning out. The sound was dropped fairly quickly, but the definite article was still used regularly until 1970. The group's UK releases during the Syd Barrett era credited them as the Pink Floyd, as did their first two US singles. The albums More and Amagama, both from '69, credit the band as Pink Floyd, produced by The Pink Floyd, while Adam Hart Mother, 1970, credits the band as The Pink Floyd, produced by Pink Floyd. David Gilmour is known to have referred to the group as The Pink Floyd as late as 1974.
The Pink Floyd.
I swear to Allah, now I have to read the descriptor for The. That is the toughest band to look up, by the way. That and the band X.
Yes.
Worst SEO ever.
Steve, how about the regular Eagles?
What, Don Henley and Company?
Yeah.
Like, there's not even an article in here about the. I have to go with Therapy instead. Anyway, go with, yeah.
Bernie Leadon is typically credited with coining the name the Eagles during a drug and alcohol-enhanced group trip to the Mojave Desert. Okay. There, Leadon recalled reading about the Native American Hopi tribes' reference to the eagle. However, J.D. Souther suggested the name stuck after Glenn Frey shouted out "Eagles" when they saw some flying above them in the desert. Comedian Steve Martin, a friend of the band, later said he suggested the group should be referred to as the Eagles, but Frey insisted the group's name should just be simply called Eagles. Although, Glenn Frey is responsible for one of the worst songs ever written. Not of the Eagles, his solo work. Tell me, can you feel it? Tell me, can you feel it?
Oh, you don't like it? I still like that song.
It's one of the worst songs ever written, Steve.
It's no Holiday Road.
I'd rather hear my own firing squad.
So I got bad news for you. What the temperature is going to be doing from now till November.
I fucking know. Well, by the way,
the heat is on.
By the
way,
way,
heat is on.
Are you in for a cabin trip in November?
If we're allowed to, sure.
If we're allowed to, we're going, and I'm going to get a bunch of fucking mushrooms. Oh yeah.
That said, did you ever see the first Beverly Hills Cop?
Yes, and I remember that song very vividly.
It's early in it, but the movie's incredible.
Oh, of course, yeah. Eddie Murphy did no wrong other than his music career in the 80s.
Eddie Murphy did no wrong except the third Beverly Hills Cop.
No. The music career of was not great.
My girl wants to party all the time, party all the time, party all the time, party all the time.
Party all the time's horrible.
Yep. Go ahead, name another one of his. Nope, super.
There's another one, but I can't name it. Foghat?
Was that simply Raleigh people using that as a slur against gay people? Because that's a lot of what I saw.
On the eve of completing its first album, this band was still struggling to find the right name. Brandywine Track and Hooch have been considered. Brandywine Track and Hooch had been considered and rejected before Foghat was finally selected. Guitarist Dave Peverett reportedly made up the meaningless word in a childhood game with his brother. That's what it says. So
it's on Wikipedia, so it has to be true.
No, it was ultimateclassicrock.com.
You, me, and what trouble gum? Therapy with a question mark. The band chose this name because it was a simple word that everyone knows or should know. The reason for the question mark at the end was because lead singer and guitarist Andy Cairns was writing out the spines for cassettes to send off to the record companies, and the band writing too far to the left. So to center the writing, make it look more professional, he added a question mark to the end, and it stuck with the band.
That's amazing.
And that was a band I discovered courtesy of the 3DO Road Rash.
That's amazing.
Which, that should probably be the next PlayStation game you beat.
Steve, you know the story behind Guns N' Roses.
You and what, Tracy?
Go ahead, tell everybody. Without looking it up.
Oh, goodness. It was, prior to, you had LA Guns.
Yes.
And Axl Rose and Co. Whoever
but
they had
it was
been.
called
Hollywood.
Obvious.
Hollywood Suicide?
No. Axl Rose's last name.
Hollywood Rose.
Yes.
All right.
Yes.
And they teamed up to go see Do a Thing and take the world over in 1987.
Yes.
Go ahead. Spell Tracy.
Here's a fun
Tracii.
Here's fun.
I keep saying track 2.
You too? Here's a funny part. Melding the names of both previous groups proved to be a much better call than rejected suggestions, which included Heads of Amazon and AIDS. They were going to name their band
Holy shit.
AIDS.
Yeah, yeah. Hey, want to name your band COVID?
Brovid. All right, that's why it was every time I touched the table, like your mic stand was hitting the table. Every time I touched the table, now it's not doing that.
Now I get some pipe insulation just to buffer it.
I might order have you seen like the clip on here? They clip here and they have like the springs and everything. I might get like the official ones. Steve, heart.
You've got one and I pretend to have one.
You have a heart. Kalima. Do you know the genesis of the band name Heart?
Dude, I don't know the genesis of the band Genesis, no.
What about the Hyundai?
You and what, Sega?
Ann Wilson previously joined a band called Whiteheart. It was formed in 1967 as the Army by bassist Steve Fossen. When Wilson joined the band, they changed the name to Hocus Pocus. Wilson met Mike Fisher, bandmate Roger Fisher's brother. Ann and Mike fell in love and came together with Roger and Fossen to regroup as a variation of Hocus Pocus and Whiteheart. And for reasons unknown, White was dropped and the band was just called Heart, and Ann's sister Nancy joined in 1974. That feels like so long ago. And it was. It's your turn. What you got for us, Steve?
The Butthole Surfers.
Yes.
The band, who previously changed name at every gig, was performing as an early version in N1884's Butthole Surfer when the announcer forgot the band's name and used the title of the song instead. They were forced to keep the name after the performance hit.
The name of the song was Butthole Surfers. That's fantastic.
That's funny because Heart's not even on this list.
Oh, that's great. I have Iron Butterfly on here.
Ew.
Do you have any idea?
I don't think it's going to fly well.
In the vein of Led Zeppelin, who released their debut the year after the San Diego Psychedelic Soldiers, Iron Butterfly arrived at their name out of the desire to combine two contrasting elements that would simultaneously represent something heavy and something airborne. The fact it sounded pretty trippy, too, probably didn't hurt them either.
You know what, Spruce Goose?
That 3 seconds.
Him, an acronym for His Infernal Majesty. They're Finlish.
Is it
and I was only aware of them from Bam's Bunch of Nonsense. And yes, it is.
It's pee break time. This is fun. I didn't realize how much fun it would be to do band name origins. So all the bands I've played in were... First band I played in was Hands All Over, and that was a Soundgarden song from the album Louder Than Love from 1989, I think, is when that came out. Yep, 89. And then the next band I played in was called Sober Addiction, and we just picked two names we've kind of found on the internet searching for 90s songs to cover. Now, the latest iteration is Analog Crash, and kind of stole that from another group. They weren't using it. I really liked the name. Analog Crash stuck. Everything's going digital and computerized, and there is an analog crash going on. So that's how I got that name. We are over 2.5 hours into this episode of this podcast, and I got to tell you guys, you don't realize how much you miss restaurants and bars and camaraderie, and it's really, really trying on my nerves right now, but maybe do as I say and not as I do, but maybe just enjoy what you have right now. Look forward to the times you're going to have. Look back to the times you had that were positive. Just try to keep your wits about you while this is all going on, because it's all temporary. We are temporary. Whether you like it or not, we are all temporary. Steve's back from the can. He's got chicken piccata waiting for him. Is Caitlin cooking it, or did you get it out?
She's cooking it.
How do you find somebody that'll cook for you?
All it takes is 100 first dates, y'all.
Never mind. I'm
uninterested. That was an incredibly difficult process, and you saw me through all of it.
And you came out ahead.
Yeah. And let's face the rest of the body, too, like it or not. Do we give them one more before signing off?
One more band, or just keep going?
I told her I'd be back at 7, and now it's 2 till, so...
yeah, get a good one.
I'm not even wearing sneakers to run out of time here.
All right, get a good one in.
ZZ Top.
Okay.
Billy Gibbons wrote in his autobiography, Billy F. Gibbons, Rock and Roll Gearhead, that he used to live in an apartment decorated with several concert posters and flyers, including ZZ Hill and B.B. King. After playing around with names like ZZ King and B.B. Hill, he wound up on top with ZZ Top.
That's it?
Wasn't gonna read you yes. We've got, I'd say all night, but we don't.
Technically.
Alright, well, yes. Group members were searching for an appropriate name, but need a name to play their first gig under. They played their first gig on August 3rd. Doesn't say which year. Under the name Yes, suggested by Peter Banks as being a short, positive, direct, and memorable. It was originally intended as a temporary solution until a permanent name could be found. Obviously, the name stuck.
REO Speedwagon.
You and what 1940s car?
Named for manufacturer Ransom Eli Olds, the REO Speedwagon was introduced in 1915 as a groundbreaking predecessor of the pickup truck. Fast forward to 1967 of the pickup truck. Okay. I haven't eaten anything in a while.
You heard what from a friend who did what?
Fast forward to 1967, and keyboardist Neil Doty learns of the name, taking it for his newly formed band. I sometimes say that's the only thing I learned in college, Doty says. I was in class, studied the history of transportation, and one day I walked in, REO Speedwagon was written on the blackboard.
Goodness. Well, it says that it totally works.
Mm-hmm.
Wu-Tang Clan.
Fuck yes.
RZA and Old Dirty Bastard adopted the name for the rap group after seeing the kung fu film Shaolin and Wu-Tang, which features a school of warriors trained in the Wu-Tang style. My future brother-in-law will be very proud of that one.
Fuck yes. Steppenwolf.
Actually, he's the one that got me these socks.
Nice.
The Mortal Kombat, the Scorpion and Sub-Zero mismatch.
Yeah. Steppenwolf.
Yes.
Producer Gabriel Meckler reportedly suggested that the Sparrows change their name to the title of Hermann Hesse's 1927 novel, and the archetypal biker rock band was born. The German author's book details a struggle within the protagonist between his human and animal, specifically wolf-like, dual natures, making Born to Be Wild a perfect soundtrack for Steppenwolf.
Dude, that song is still rad.
Yeah.
Have you heard the Pusher?
No.
Oh, it's a good one.
What you got for us? I got Supertramp. The pop-loving British art rockers got their name from W.H. Davies' 1908 memoir, The Autobiography of a Supertramp, in which the Welsh writer, who coincidentally shares a surname with Supertramp's Rick Davies, details his wandering, hardscrabble early days.
Toto. In the early 1980s, band members told the press the band was named after the dog in The Wizard of Oz.
Is that true?
Hey, man. This is oddly apt and from a band I don't care for. UB40, the UK government's form number for Unemployment Benefit Abundance Card, known as the band's debut album, Signing Off.
I only like them a lot because my mom listened to them, and I listened to Red Red Wine a fucking lot. The band, Steve.
Wait, the band?
The band.
Yeah, talk about also more bad SEO.
Having already backed Bob Dylan before striking out on their own, the 5 musicians of the band were used to being referred to unofficially as simply, quote unquote, the band. If I was trying to cash a check in the Colonial Pharmacy, someone there might vouch for me by saying, yeah, he's with the band, meaning Bob Dylan's band, Rick Danko once said. So when it came time to pick a proper name, they just stuck with the band.
That's incredible. Uriah Heep, creepy character from the novel David Copperfield by Charles Dickens.
I never put that together, actually.
That's such a strange name, but man, they rip.
Yeah.
Van Halen. Duh. The last name of the band's lead guitarist is Eddie Van Halen and drummer Alex Van Halen. Although initially called Mammoth, the band changed its name when it found out Mammoth had already been taken by another band.
Van Mammoth.
Go on. There's your cover band name.
Van Mammoth. That's a Mastodon Van Halen cover band.
That's going to be, yeah. What do you do otherwise? Hager Mammoth?
Van Halen.
For the last one, it's going to be Hager Mammoth.
Man Halen. Man Hagar. The Clash. Do you know the origins of the Clash?
No. I just know I like them more than you do.
Yes. Punk pioneers picked this name with a tongue twisted in cheek, having noticed that the British Evening Standard tabloid employed the word clash again and again in its sensationalistic headlines. I thought it was going to be more entertaining than that.
The Velvet Underground. Speaking of bands you don't like.
I don't. Do you like them?
More than you. After a book about sadomasochism by Michael Lee.
Nothing beats that.
Heyo! Nothing beats yourself.
Eh.
Violent Femmes. According to bassist Brian Ritchie, who came up with the name of the group as a fake band name, when his bandmates questioned his assertion his brother was also in the band, he and percussionist Victor De Lorenzo liked the band name, so they used it for themselves.
The Kinks. After early going...
Do we need to justify this?
After early going by such forgotten titles as the Pete Quaife Band and the Bow Weevils, the Ramrods and the Ravens, Ray Davies and company finally settled on a suggestion, perhaps from a friend of first manager Robert Wace, that was both mildly perverse and appropriately punchy, the Kinks. Oh, and we mean settled because Davies later said, I've never really liked that name.
Wang Chung, the Chinese word
Yes. Go on.
Huang Chung means yellow bell, and the first note in the Chinese classical music scale.
Everybody hong hong tonight.
Everybody have fun tonight.
That video is awesome. Have you seen that video?
Nope.
What? It's very twitchy.
It's the 1980s. What do you want it to do, man?
Fair. The police.
Oh, the sweet irony.
Do you know the story?
Negative.
Drummer Stuart Copeland named the band before Sting even came on board.
Fuck Sting. Fuck the police has already been done.
I love Dana Carvey's bit on Sting. He's like, the man's so badass, he named himself a present tense verb. He's not stug, and he's not stinging. He's Sting.
I was just stealing a joke from Doug Benson.
So they named themselves the Police before Sting came on board. Some have suggested it was an oblique reference to the CIA career of Miles Copeland Jr., the father of Stewart and police manager Miles III. But reports that Stewart simply saw it on the side of a cop car and adopted it as the band's name seem more likely, if less intriguing.
Dude, Stuart Copeland interviews are worth your while to listen to, by the way.
Oh?
Yeah, he's a fun dude to listen to. Speaking of bands I don't like, Widespread Panic. I would expect
I like Coconut.
that would be, some sort of heavy metal thing instead of jam band. No.
It's very, I like coconuts. You can't break them open. Smelling like ladies lying in the sun. It's a horrible fucking band. I would have eat this glass than listen to that band.
They made the Grateful Dead sound good.
Yeah, I know.
Due to anxiety problems, lead guitarist Mike Hauser used to have the name Panic. One day he came home and announced he didn't want to just be Panic, he wanted to be Widespread Panic.
Oof. At least we can agree on this one.
What? The band Undercover Slut?
Go on.
After Wendy
Unrecovered Slut.
Undercover Slut.
Undercover. I just said unrecovered. Undercover.
I'm not enunciating good after this many drink.
We got to finish this bottle tonight.
Oh, dear. After Wendy Whitebread, Undercover Slut.
What? That sounds like a porn star's name from the 60s.
X-rated comic book from 1990.
Oh, my God.
Ugly Kid Joe, a parody of the LA glam band Pretty Boy Floyd. Funny because I've never heard of Pretty Boy Floyd.
I have. I didn't say I was an expert, but...
more than I did.
That's not saying a lot. Thin Lizzy?
Something automotive, isn't it?
No. The Irish hard rockers took their name from a character called Tin Lizzy in a long-running British comic called The Dandy. The change to thin was a pun on the way Irish accents replace a th sound with a t sound. Interesting. That's cool. 3 Dog Night.
How cold is it?
Yes.
According to the Three Dog Night story, 64 to 75, vocalist Danny Hutton's then girlfriend June Fairchild suggested the name after reading a magazine article about Indigenous Australians, and it was explained that on cold nights they would customarily sleep in a hole in the ground whilst embracing a dingo, ate my baby, a native species of wild dog. On colder nights, they would sleep with 2 dogs, or if that was freezing, a 3 dog night.
Yep.
3 dingo night.
is your new cover band?
Three Dingo Night would be a great of
Or-
an excess Silverchair.
It would
tribute.
it would have to be Three Dingo Night Ate My Baby.
There's your title for this episode.
Three Dingo Night Ate My Baby.
Twisted Sister.
Yeah.
According to legend, the band that began as Silver Star changed its name when an audience member fortuitously referred to the members, who were done up as heavy metal drag queens, as a bunch of twisted sisters.
Stone Sour. A cocktail made of 1 part whiskey and a splash of orange juice. The group described their music as 1 part pure rock adrenaline with a splash of melody, which means I need to take my 2-month expired bottle of orange juice and consume it doing this.
We have some orange juice with pineapple downstairs that Mac and Thomas and I have been using to mix with mushrooms.
Goodness.
There's no mushrooms in it. But
Yeah. Well, you said it wasn't that there too.
Thomas and I did the rest of the mushrooms 2 weeks ago.
We lucked out that the bottle of orange juice upon making the marinade for the lamb yesterday, while being well past due, didn't hurt. I figured the soy sauce, like that, it's salt. It's not going bad.
Right.
The orange juice, that was a much more real threat. Which means I see a lot of screwdrivers in my future.
Because you don't salt the orange juice. Allegedly.
Shouldn't.
Soy sauce liqueur, though. I would try it.
You better marinade.
Look, no, I'd try it. You would try it, too. I didn't say you would like it. I just say you would try it. You already did yes, and you did ZZ Top. And that's all I got, Steve.
Cool. Well, I'm past due. How do you do?
I'm past due, too, and I probably should eat something.
Or I just need to leave them 2 more.
Oh.
Score Nut Zippers, a peanut and caramel candy from the 1920s. That sounds fantastic. Stepping Westward, a band I liked, much like Cake, when the singer was depressed.
And Squirrel Nut Zippers are from?
Chapel Hole.
Yes.
Stepping Westward, out of Chicago, Christopher Hall and Walter Falkus. Whatever. Formed the band Stepping Westward when they were in college. They came up with the name while working at the college radio station WUAS-FM. During their interview in 1996, Hall stated, "Since we went to Western Illinois University, Stepping Westward had a certain kill everybody in the school vibe to it. Before, that was frowned upon. The school is way out in farm country, and the country is very close-minded. I was walking around like Robert Smith with real big hair, real big baggy black clothes, and black fingernail polish and eye makeup.
I fucking hate The Cure.
They just didn't get it. We hated the town. Maybe you should have gone to UC instead, bub."
Well, if it wasn't COVID-19 and it was COVID-13, R. Kelly would have tested positive. Steve, we're done.
Hooray!
This was a lot of fun, and we almost went 3 hours just with each other instead of a guest.
Oh, snap.
Can you believe that? 2 hours, 53 minutes and counting.
For Israel.
Well, cool. 50... Oh, my God. 57 will be coming up.
Uh-huh. Nothing but shitty steak sauce.
I'm okay with that because I don't mind shitty steak sauce. What about you?
I grew up on that stuff. It's pretty rad.
I like it too.
Yeah.
Steve, we're done. You want to do a week or 2 weeks?
2's good.
I miss you though. I miss all my friends.
Fine. Do it sooner.
You just let me know when you're comfortable with it because I'll do it anytime since I live here.
Cool.
Steve, I'm AJ.
I'm still Steve.
Bye. We'll see you in 57.
See you next month, fuckers.
Fornicators. Later.